get broadcast link out to the public. And there we go. We are off. I've got J2 joining me in just a minute or two here. Let's get everything opened up on the main broadcast.
And guess
We
who's
open
back?
things up. Oh, and there you are. So we got ourselves an electric event today. Right now we're in the first part of a two-part qualifying. We got the GTM class out on the grid. We'll try and hear from a couple of the the MPH class during that time. And then after that, we will have the situation changed up. We'll get the LMDH class. We're just going to call them the prototype class. I'm not going to be able to do this. The
Just the prototypes
GTM,
today.
yeah, and we'll get the GTM class back out to join us. But J2, why don't you give us a little rundown about what we're going to see here today, and I'll be back in just a moment so we can get some interviews started.
Yeah, for sure, ladies and gentlemen. We have the 2.4 hours of Mugello. We got the GTMs and the prototypes racing today. It's looking like it's going to be an absolute crazy day. Like we said, we got the GTMs in qualifying. I mean, we did a practice race just a couple of days ago just to get a feel for how the event was going to run. And I've got to say, I took part in that, and it was absolutely electric. I mean, the BOP on the GTM class was really, really amazing. So expect to see some close racing there. There's going to be a lot of options going around the field in terms of strategy and tire wear. These guys do have a mandatory long stop, which a couple of teams will be using for a driver swap. So that is also something that you guys can look forward today in the race. They are going to have pretty, not low grip, but they're going to be at about 98% grip once the event actually starts. So they're going to have to be careful out there in the first couple of laps. Look for a little action or drama in the first couple of turns, especially here at Mugello. Some electric drivers on the grid, some returning faces, maybe some fan favorites if you want to be a little bit biased. I know we have one base cannon on the grid. That's going to be pretty interesting. Ayash is on the grid as well, so these are going to be some of those drivers out there to look forward to. But I think everybody out here is going to be able to put on a show for us today. On board now with Marco Hars. Looks like he's going around into turn one. Brings that all the way to the outside. Let's see how he can get the car nipped into the apex. Is a little bit wide there, but he hits the second one quite nicely and good on exit. That BMW looking absolutely electric around Mugello. And a lot of these cars, like I said earlier, BOP'd to, I mean, an impressive standard. And so I think a lot of the difference around the lap times today is probably going to be all up to driver skill and just how you manage your qualifying. So I think we're going to really get to see the best of your favorite drivers today.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an exciting showdown here. We've got already some wheel-to-wheel action, it looks like, in qualifying. As I think I heard, we're going to see up to 30 cars on the GTM grid alone, and then I think only 15 maybe, if I remember correctly, or 14, I guess, up in the prototype class. So should be interesting to see how this track gets spread out. It's not a very long track for a 2.5-hour race. It'll be quite interesting.
Yeah, they're definitely going to get a lot of laps around here, and you know, the more laps they get, the more traffic we're probably going to see, especially between the classes. You know, those prototypes are going to be looking to come through mostly unbothered, but you know, not a lot of insane overtaking spots here where you can just hang one around the outside and expect to stay alive.
Yeah, now are Tato and Botlando teammates? Is that maybe these guys are working together on laps, trying to just find some similar pace? Oop, as Botlando takes
Ooh.
one wide. I believe that's Botlando. Yep.
Yeah, and he did well to keep the car rolling there. We did talk about in the briefing and during the practice race, if you end up in that gravel and your car is stopped, it's a good chance that you are going to be beached here today. No safety cars and no virtual safety cars to help you get out. So you definitely want to stay away from the rocks on the outside because that'll be a quick way to end your race if you're looking to.
Yeah, now we are sitting on board here with the number 70 car, Marco in the Rockets. Man, this thing looks pretty
Ooh.
sweet. I'm always a fan of these split liveries. I actually
Oh,
made
I didn't
a
even see that.
red versus blue Mountain Dew one for someone in our MX5 class. A
Oh, really?
yeah, I did. There's something about these color schemes. I love them.
Yeah, I think the drivers out here, as we can see, probably went pretty ham on some of the liveries that we're going to see. And I won't lie, we haven't seen too many, but this is already in contention for my favorite. That red-blue split is looking pretty cool.
Very strong start indeed. Let's see who we got back here. We got Warman being followed by someone. We'll take a look who in a minute. I'm going to say that's got to be a custom livery if I've ever seen one, but I could be
I mean,
wrong.
yeah, that thing looks like a proper race car. I would be very surprised if that came in with the pack. But nonetheless, absolutely beautiful.
Although I will say the names on it don't line up to what we've got going on here, so maybe not. But either way, another stunning livery. We'll figure out which ones are the custom ones throughout the evening. Got another racer coming up here. Let's see, Botlando. Oh, we did check in with them.
I landed there in the Lexus, a heavier car out of the group, looking to, use the weight advantage. Oh, just getting over the curb there. The Beamer as well. And I've got to say, maybe it's just me, but I like this stock livery on the Beamer.
Yeah, it's so
really
classic. There's
good.
something about that.
Can't hate
Just the I mean, I guess the red, blue, and blue, but it really just looks good. Ooh.
Oh,
That's Broadcaster's Curse Strikes Leor, so we'll let him hang out for a minute as I lose the track completely. There it is. And
there we have found it.
just trying to see if we can find any of these other custom liveries. Maybe that other one wasn't a custom because this is part of the same pack of cars. Very similar livery here for Marco.
It may not have been custom, but it looked pretty good. So a little head nod to the RSS people for giving us some sweet old cars to look at. And right now we've got Dimitri currently sitting at the top of the leaderboard as well with a 146.6.
I just noticed we actually have a bunching of, well, we had a bunching. All four of these guys were really close together going into the final corner. And then it seems like they've all split up. We've got only a minute left of qual. We actually didn't end up running any of the LMDH interviews, but I don't think we saw anybody join looking to do any. But we'll have to keep an eye out and see who's in the audience for the during the prototype qualifying. See if we can get some with the GTM guys.
Yeah, maybe we can get a GTM in here while they go out for quali. See what the track is like. See what the how the cars feel. Wow, look at that! The dirt just flying away from the curb. That is so cool.
That was a great
cool.
shot. That really shows how hard some of these cars are pushing. Although I feel like we keep running into the same racers over and over again. Marco, Leor. I don't see a ton of racers who've gone out in qualifying yet. Only 11 racers with time on the board.
I mean, maybe only some of them are looking to qualify. Maybe some do want to start, towards the back of their pack and maybe look to just come up through the chaos. I mean, it definitely is going to be a little bit dangerous if you are anywhere in the middle or in the front, really. So you may get some advantage from being in the back. But I've got to say, it's a hard track to push on, especially when you drop all the fuel out of the car and it gets real lively. It could just be that some of these drivers were not able to put a full lap down. We didn't have a long qualifying session, a little bit of time, but you definitely had to manage well, so we'll see what happens.
All right, yeah, and it looks like people added KN5 files to their liveries. So that seems to be part of the holdup here, is everybody having issues getting the livery stuff sorted. I'm sure our admin group will get that one figured out. I have a sneaking suspicion we're going to see a second GTM qualifying here, as only a third of the grid were able to get laps in during
Ooh.
the qualifying session. So
Yeah, they may run that back just one more time, just to make sure everyone's got a fair shot at that. But hey, no complaints from me. More cars going around the grid.
well, they seem to be figuring it out slowly though. So giving them a little bit of time to dial things in as we look up and down the field. Oop, and the session comes to an end. We'll see what ends up happening with the GTM qualifying, but at the moment, Dimitri sits up top with a 146.5. We then have Milan with a 147.1, Pilati with a 47.5, Speed Bump a 47.5, Ninja 48.3, Marco a 48.6, Laor a 48.7, Marco. What do we got? Two Marcos? We must have two Marcos. 48.7, and then Botlando and Juan in the 48s, 8 and 9s, Tater in the 49.057, and then the 49.5 for War Ramen. All right, this is going to be interesting now to see how this goes for the qualifying. I think um, there was one more livery added, so let me just get this one downloaded as well for
Want to make sure we represent everybody out there equally.
yep, that
Yeah,
is
we'll
the
see if they
plan.
go out again. Hmm. But we may switch straight to the prototype qualifying.
Yeah.
But
You see the server is down momentarily, so we're just going to wait a second here, see exactly what it is that they have going on. And while we do that, let's see if we can grab any of our racers for today. Um, I'm scared to grab the wrong racers. Let's see. Who did we see in the server already? I
we
feel like
saw
we could.
Botlando.
Yeah, let's grab some of those guys. Let's see. I'll see if I can move Botlando over here. Botlando, we invited you to just come on to the broadcast here if you want to, if you have a minute.
Yeah,
Hello,
there he
guys.
is.
Hey,
The
well,
man himself.
it seems like there's a safety issue with somebody's helmet, and that might be the cause of all the chaos. But you yourself managed to break through and get onto the server here. How was your 20 minutes of qualifying, and are you worried that there might be a follow up session that you have to throw down some more laps for?
No, I think they're doing one for the guys that couldn't get in early. I was able to join just fine, so my qual is done. Um, but yeah, on my side went pretty smooth. I just kind of battling with the low grip, but that was also kind of expected. But no real issues on my side, so all good for me.
Very nice.
Botlando, we've got like 2.4 hours of racing coming up. What do you have in terms of strategy? Do you think it will be more than a two stopper? Maybe a three? What are you thinking?
Definitely thinking two is possible. I'm really doubtful of it. I tried it yesterday doing some practice. I ended up blowing my tire at like lap
Oh
27.
no.
So that's kind of the margin for the two stopper. So yeah, my driving, I guess, not too nice to that tire. So I'll definitely be going for the three stopper just to be on the safe side.
I gotcha. And sounds like I think earlier we heard that the grip won't hit 100% until about halfway into the race. Are you worried about the track grip being so low for such a long part of the race, or do you think you got it?
I worry a little bit at the start, especially now. See, for quality was a little bit. it was definitely lower than on the practice, so I was not able to set as faster times. But on the fast section, you really feel it. So I'm definitely gonna be taking the caution just to keep it on track. That's kind of on my past endurance is how I get by staying out of trouble. So yeah, I'll be trying to take it easy at the beginning. To go already in a little bit.
Absolutely a smart man. It is a endurance race, not a sprint. So I think one of the best strategies is keeping your nose clean, Botlando.
Exactly.
All right. Well, on that note, Botlando, I'm gonna let you head on back to the general chat, see what's going on, see if you can help with anybody. Sorry for the chaos in the background, but we wish you guys some luck today.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. See ya.
Um, I am loading in for the prototype practice, and we'll get that set up here for all of our viewers.
There we are. Look at that. That one. There's no way they gave that one to us in the livery pack from the cars. There's a beautiful livery. It's lime green with the yellow trim. It looks a little bit like a Sierra Mist can or something like that, but absolutely beautiful. That's going to stick out later today for sure.
Yeah, that is a great looking vehicle there for the number 86 car, Project Purple, doing a phenomenal job. I'm going to let you take over the broadcasting for just a minute here.
Yeah, I gotcha. All right, so we've started with the prototype qualifying, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the prototype car, it took these drivers just a little bit to get their eye in. There was a lot of understeer in this car. Remember, it's a big old boat, but man, that thing is fast as it goes around the track here at Mugello. It's a great track for this car, and it's a great track just to get on the limit with and really be on the limit, but also be so close to danger. Everywhere there is some type of undulation in the track or some type of slip that you're fighting all the time through this tight and narrow section here. The dirt on either side is just inches away at any given time. As we see Project Purple there almost cutting the grass just a little bit, but looking like he's guiding the car well. I mean, he's really got his eye in right now, right to the red curb right there, leaving absolutely no room for error. Blows down into the fast section now, a little bit wide of that second apex, but kept it together very nicely. Moving up the hill now, got to use all of your available space on the entry, so that way your exit is nice and tidy. And look at him putting it on the limit there, just a little wide, but nipping in quite nicely. Looks like he's got his eye in for that car. He's got a pretty decent setup. Coming now into the final part of Mugello. One of the last quick turns as you go into the final turn. And this is going to be the overtaking spot that we're going to see a lot of, ladies and gentlemen. Someone going down the inside trying to keep it tight. Somebody hanging around the outside trying to keep their speed up for the long straight down into T1. I'm so excited. We are just going to see a lot of close racing today, I think. And with these prototypes going through and having to manage all that GTM traffic, it's going to be quite a doozy. As we're on board here now with Bobby, one of these drivers out here to be looking for. I mean, Bobby is an absolute animal on track. We know that already. And so it's going to be quite interesting to see him perform in an endurance environment. Ooh, right as we say it, a little bit of lockup. You saw that all the way to the edge of the track,
right
but he
there.
kept it in.
That was a nice stretch.
Yeah, really pushing the car to the limit there for Bobby and paying off at 134.5 for his lap time.
Yeah, and it's funny, these are pretty much outlap times. I mean, I know these guys are starting to push a little bit, but we're going to see much faster times from the guys throughout the session. And things are only going to get quicker. Oh, my God.
Base Cannon now with the Spider-Man livery. Look at that.
That's incredible.
Wow. Yeah, that is pretty slick. I think he did a great job with that one. Where he got that one done, that is not too shabby.
Is this a Cameron Designs livery? I'm looking for the
I
logo. Oh, yep, look at that. How did I
Yep.
know? Who else would
How
pull
did you
that
know?
off?
My gosh.
Wow, look at that thing, man.
Absolutely beautiful. I did hear some talk about this, but I wasn't sure if we were going to see it in the first race, and Cameron has delivered. That is absolutely beautiful. A couple drivers out here reminiscent of that Flush 5 F4 livery from the Venus F4 League. Rest in peace to anybody who drove that. Absolutely electric time. Maybe some nods to Flush 5. It was a pretty moving force over there, Buggy.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are doing outstanding work. Cameron is just every time this kid makes a livery, he knocks it out of the park. We'll let Base Cannon carry on with his lap, see if we can carry on to a few other racers. Now, I know this one is just a stock livery, but there is something about seeing all these sleek curves just in black shining in the daylight here. Looks
Absolutely.
phenomenal.
Yeah, when those lights go out later in the race, or I guess when the lights really will come on, but the sun goes away and it gets dark, that thing is going to be a menace on the track. Only getting the headlights really to figure out where it is, and the all black going down into turn 1.
I'm not 100% positive. I heard some mentions that we might not be having a full daylight cycle in today's 2.5 hour event. I'm not sure of how true that is, but I certainly haven't seen the sun move too much over the course of the 20-minute sessions. But again, that's only 20-minute qualifying sessions.
Yeah, I do have a little bit of sauce information, but nothing too telling. I know that we're going into the night, but I do not remember if we're going to see the daylight again. So we may finish in the dark this time around.
I head back over to the main straightaway, try and catch up with some of the other prototypes on the grid. Oh, did I end up back with Wase that quickly, or we got two maybe in that? Oh, we do. We've got a few in that number 86 car, I think, or the all black racer. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
1x
I think
time
that we do, yeah.
progression. The chat's saying so. That's going to be no nighttime for us to this event. I know they'll do it in the future ones. Just trying to catch on with some of these racers who haven't quite cracked into those quicker times, so to speak, the 36, 35 range. So I'm anticipating a lot of improvement from those guys over these next 7 minutes here. Do you see only 8 of these guys on the grid, so they're going to want to try and keep those times close together because they're not going to have a lot of opportunities once traffic spreads out to work their way through the field. They need to be.
Yeah, I think for the prototypes today. Oh, sorry.
No,
Go ahead, Buggy.
I was just gonna say they just need to be putting down some consistency. But
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think for the prototypes today, qualifying is going to be pretty important, especially with the managed traffic. The further up you can start, the less you have to deal with it. It's definitely going to help out. And those positions gained on the first couple laps of the races are always going to be a little bit more valuable. So they're going to have that first shot at passing those GTMs up.
yeah, now Govin is doing a really good job on the out lap of focusing on this corner right here. You can see he set himself up for a lot of acceleration, and we'll get a chance in just a moment here to see if it pays off, as he does start out the lap with a little bit more speed than he did on his personal best, but nothing too crazy. We'll see what he can make happen through the remaining turns as he's looking to join the other racers who have all hit the 35s now, with the exception of Bobby, half a second above the rest. That is some incredible pace. And
yeah, I mean,
I'm excited.
Oh, yeah, Bobby is definitely the competition numero uno today. I mean, he's got his eye in on the car. He's got the setup. He's dialed in. He's locked in. And, It's gonna be a race to see if anybody here can take it to him. Oh, Govin just a little bit wide. I was gonna say we have to remember these prototypes, they do have the hybrid system, so these guys are gonna have to be managing a little bit of battery through the race as well. So that's also gonna be something that'll be quite interesting as we get into the latter stages of the race.
And it does seem like I'm getting word the stewards were able to figure out the safety issues regarding some of the helmet checks and sums up of other stuff. So they're going to be okay, I think, to redo a GTM quali and then get this show on the road. So we get a few extra laps here to watch of racing today. That'll be nice.
Yeah, a few extra laps is always welcome. I'm sure some of these drivers are going to be thinking, oh, you're going to make me do 2.4 hours after a quali session and then double up on the quali session. I think some of these guys are going to be a little bit sore, but nonetheless, I think they'll push through.
Yeah, now these guys have a lot of time to really make mistakes throughout the race. So at this point, I know all of these guys have probably put down hundreds of laps in the practice sessions, but if I have one of these times that's locked into the 35s, I know position is important, but with a 2.5-hour race, I would start working on my consistency here. You know, if I haven't been seeing much improvement over the last 5 minutes or so the last like 2 or 3 laps, I would not really try and fatigue myself with the 2.5-hour race coming up and just focus on getting back that consistent pace and realizing what it's like with the full load here, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the quali session is a practice session, you know, at the end of the day, just the same as any, really. There's always time to learn about the car and learn about, you know, what you can do better. And sometimes it's in those quali sessions where you really realize what else you could be doing. So, I mean, to start out here with some good fuel would not be a horrible idea for some of these drivers in the middle of that field. Now, Bobby out here still setting around laps. Do you think he's pushing, or do you think that he may have a little bit of fuel on board?
I mean, a 34.5 is certainly nothing to sneeze at, but we haven't really seen any changes to the car to the pace since that 34.5. So he might be holding back a little bit and not really trying to work out, you know, a faster time. I think he is doing that higher fuel run that we were talking about. Just looking at his pace alone here, you can see he's already off the pace down the straightaway. I'm gonna think he's a little heavy.
Yeah, I think Bobby taking the opportunity to get his eye in for what that heavy fuel with a different bit of track grip is going to be like. And, you know, I mean, why not? He's locked into a good spot in quali. No need to fatigue himself, like you said. Get an eye in on that consistency.
Well, we say that, and he's actually up on his lap time right now, almost by a 10, which I'm surprised there's even another 10th to find with his current time.
Yeah, I mean, but sometimes it is when you get that fuel on board and you're just going for consistency where you start to realize that there's more time in the lap. You know? These qualifying sessions, basically just timed practice sessions, if you ask me. Looks like also we do have, who is that, Eskies?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Eskies.
Yeah, putting up a pretty competitive lap for P2 there. Kind of snuck it away from Zenith. A mere, what is that? Maybe 2-ish tenths away from Bobby?
Yeah, very much in striking range. That's close enough to catch a draft for sure. So if he can hold this pace, they're going to do a phenomenal job. It looks like they're racing from Argentina today, if I'm looking at that flag correctly. A little hard to see with how small it is on the screen, but
possibly racing from Argentina. But I got somebody in chat. Eskies apparently is the first professional sim racer from Bolivia.
Bolivia. Oh, okay. That's awesome.
Out here representing.
First professional sim racer. Wow, that is actually going to be an impressive battle to watch. So we do have professional sim racer among the mitts. Bobby putting up some incredible time, showing that He's himself has the pace. We see Zenith creeping up only 2/10 away. All of these guys are doing a phenomenal job of sticking together. We do see even Project Purple, Tall Tech, Base Cannon, Engine, all only a couple tenths away, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah, that middle pack there is it's insanely tight. I mean, the distance between Tall Tech and Base Cannon just, I mean, almost non-existent, and even Tall Tech to Project Purple, it's even less here. And we do actually see Bobby with a 134.3, so improving on that lap time. And I mean, just setting up another message saying, "Hey, come get me."
Yeah, I mean, Eskies is definitely pushing. You can tell he's toying closely with the overall delta. But we haven't seen it go green just yet here on the final lap. We are in overtime. Bolivian
what he can do
Pride.
here.
Very nice. The number 88 car. Man, he's making this thing work, though. Look at that pace. So,
yes, sir. I was just about to see. You can see he's got his eye in for this car, as he's just stringing the neck, hitting every apex. I mean, his line it's been beautiful.
So the top 3 cars all getting into the 134s. That's going to be very interesting. Base Cannon just a 10th shy. We know that he's a racer in the past that's really pulled out some phenomenal overall laps. So I wouldn't be surprised if that consistent lap time is going to be a force to be reckoned with. But
Absolutely,
we'll
I feel
have to
like I
see
can
what
say
goes
that.
on.
Yeah, Base Cannon is an animal when we get into in a proper race stint. So it's gonna be interesting to see him out there. Just want to say, just want to address some stuff in the chat. The ESR challenge is a collab between the Venus Motorsport Discord and the TSR Triple R Discord, and just for one big endurance challenge, we are all coming together, 2 different classes, and we are all just coming together to race a little endurance series. So it'll be a longer series with varying race time lengths, but overall the same endurance format.
We on the broadcast believe ESR stands for Enjoy Sim Racing. I don't care what anyone tells you. Don't listen to them. That's why they chose those specifically.
I have some inside information that is totally accurate and not at all a fabricated story. It stands for Enjoy Sim Racing.
Yeah, yeah. And we are joining up with the follow-up GTM session here, so we'll be able to check in as the guys who could not be checksummed take to the track to try and get their qualifying laps in.
Absolutely, and just want to note that the broadcast fan is not being checksummed, so we do have our stuff together. Seems like some of these guys maybe just aren't. They're not built like us.
I pay for NASA Wi-Fi. All right, I got that. They posted a delivery pack.
Connection.
It was in the computer immediately. Yeah. So as far as the collab goes, you can see at the bottom.
So fast.
Exactly. You can see at the bottom of the screen, you got the TSR and the VM guys down there. Base Cannon and Tall Tech racing for Venus Motorsport as the admin team. Josh Fulton racing for Techley as the admin team. Then we've got a few other guys sprinkled in the mix, obviously, staff and otherwise. But it looks like GTM qualifying is underway. I'm going to step away for just a hot second if you want to tell us what we're looking at.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, right now we're looking at the absolutely amazing livery of Yassarian. And guys, if you weren't there for the 4 hours of Norwich Life earlier this year, I mean, Yassarian is an absolute force to be reckoned with on the track. Absolutely beautiful livery and beautiful driver as he goes a little bit wide, but keeps it under control and he keeps it going. I mean, and choosing the Mercer, which I know we're BOP'd, but I could personally say was not my favorite car to use, followed very, very closely by the Rockets Acura right behind him. An absolutely beautiful livery on that as well. Also, just wanted to say SG Is there still a chance to join the season? Yes, absolutely. Obviously, for this race, it's a little bit late, but there are signups in the VM and the TSR Discord. If you want to join, I believe we still have some slots, prototype and GTM. To see Asarian now going down the main straight into the braking zone, getting that front end nipped in there pretty well. And I gotta say, I believe the Mercer and only the BMW as well. The two front engine cars on the grid. Actually, no, I'm lying to you guys because there's the Lexus as well. So there is some front engine cars. So actually, an equal split representation here today. I know there is a decent amount of the Lamborghini on the track as well. My personal favorite being the Acura chasing down Yassarian as he looks to start his qualifying off in a good way. Can definitely see on the track map now we've got a lot more cars going around the track this time around. That GTM class is it's quite full, and there's a lot of competition out there to be had. Yeah, Sarian, and who else is out there? We have Dimitri, Mylan as well out there, as well as El Garito, a fan favorite, or maybe a broadcaster favorite if I had to be just a little bit biased. But yeah, it's gonna be an absolutely great race today, and I think a lot of these cars are gonna get to see some really good races. We don't have any safety car procedures today, but we are looking, I believe, to do that. That'll be next race if we need them. So these guys are going to have to try and keep it as clean as they can. That gravel that you see there in the background is one of those larger issues for him. It's quite often, actually, that you can get beached around this track. And so if you get beached, that's just the end of your race. You don't want to see that happen to any of your favorite drivers out there. So please pray for them as they throw it around the track here in Yassarian. I believe these are just some of the preliminary times or maybe first couple of laps. Right now, Yassarian holding a 1:48.5 as we hop over here to the Rockets Acura of Marco, working through the first sector.
Yeah, and we see a lot of guys heading out now, way more than we did are able to, or way more are able to join the server than we're able to in the first session. So that is promising. We do have 5 minutes remaining, and a lot of them are just now hitting the track. So hopefully they've extended the overtime a little bit, as we only see 5 times on the board. I do want to take a look at this one. Yeah, I had a feeling it was going to be something funky looking at that icon. Look at that thing.
That, you know what? That's a race car right there, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. I feel like I'm looking at a Call of Duty 4.
Oh my god, you can see out of it. That's amazing. That's so great.
That is absolute gold. Absolute gold.
Oh, I'm so glad they fixed the checksum issues, because I would have been furious to not have that on the grid.
Ladies and gentlemen, man, we need to start a livery vote because I need that thing to win.
That is amazing. The chances of a safety car are very low for this race. This race, we're focusing on dialing in all of the driver swap, the track cut penalty, all that kind of stuff, part of rail penalty. And then for the next couple of races, we're going to be focusing on getting in like safety car laps, all of that. I will say our order of the season, we didn't realize that the prototypes can beach in the sand on these. But we don't have the means for a safety car. So we did warn all the drivers during the driver briefing about the danger of beaching, and now it could be a problem for the race. So
yeah,
not a ton we can do.
Yeah, I was talking to some organizers here, and I've been playing a lot of DCS, so I'm thinking we port that over here, and we use a helicopter to pick the cars up.
Yeah,
and,
see, there we go.
Instead of a safety car, we can have a safety helicopter and keep the race going. That way there's no danger to anybody else. Hopping on with Arj here. Also, just want to say, Cameron saying he didn't sleep through the race. We're so glad to have you. And,
Cam, that's Spider-Man.
Yeah. Dude, a lot of the work that you're seeing on track is going to be the work of Cameron. So absolute massive shout out to him for giving us so many of these awesome liveries. And this track design as well, you see the ESR boards in the background there, all the little details. A big old nod to Cameron.
Cam, for the next track design you do, just a little inside scoop, you can actually change the back of the safety car marshal jackets, or sorry, the safety marshal jackets. We did it for our spa race collab with Venus a little while ago. Yeah. So you can get all the jackets to have like official logos on them and everything too. Only on the back.
That is so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah.
All the little details.
Yeah, I didn't know about the seats though. That one, that was a cool one for me to see. I'm gonna have to next time I look into a track do that one. Oh, as Figo goes for a spin, costing. Oh, okay. I was gonna say costing Arch a little bit of time, but it does make an awkward entry into a long straightaway to start off what is gonna be Arch's last attempt at a hot lap. Let's try and jump on with a few other racers who we haven't checked in with. I don't know that we saw Yosari. Oh, no, actually, we spent the whole beginning with Yosari, and so we'll give him a minute. We did check in with Milan. Oh, no, we were watching Vigo, so now we'll check in with Milan.
Yeah. Milan there with a 147.1. Didn't look like he improved on that lap, but he's got one more to give it a shot. Dimitri up there with a 146.5. Pretty dominant lap time, but followed pretty closely there by what I believe is Garrido with a 146.7.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anyone in this GTM class is going to get away comfortably. I do want to jump over to one other racer who seems to have something going on. Yep, that's going to be Speed Bump and a nice custom livery there. All sorts of sponsors along the grid. That is excellent. You can see the Venus Motorsport there. I like that black and white combo. Really found a nice spot in the body line to break that up too.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. That is for it being so simple, that car looks so cool. That is an absolute great livery design there by Speed, who I believe does his own livery. So I think that's the work of Speed, if I'm not mistaken.
Indeed.
But I may have to inquire. Yeah, but looks like the GTM quali is over, and the grid that you see on the left of your screen is going to be their starting order.
Yeah, now this is the interesting part here. This is where we got to shift everything over to the race itself and get ready to go. We're going to just pause things up for a moment as we dial things in. I'm not entirely sure where the final order ended up being, just because, again, we had a couple different qualifying sessions. So we'll get that to you shortly when everybody lines up for the rolling start. We'll have a small warm-up session so everyone can connect before we take to the grid.
Yeah, we got some of our GTM drivers popping up in chat here just to say hello. What's up, you guys? As we get started for the race, there's some propaganda in our live chat as well, so I wouldn't look at that if you know what's good for you. But yeah, anything that happened within like the last 3 minutes, just don't see.
Hold on, there's another. Which one's addendum 2? Oh my god. How many liveries do they have? Jesus Christ. Yeah, we were missing one.
Oh no.
Sorry, we're getting it added here between. No, I'm glad they mentioned. That's actually the nice thing about there being a few sessions.
That we can update the liveries so
quickly in between. You know? Right,
yeah.
That should be good now.
Yeah, I do feel bad for Kagermon. Maybe we need to do a wellness check. Hopefully he's not trying to download every single car again.
Oh, is he one of the ones having it? I don't know how many other racers have issues going on.
I'm not sure, but I think everybody should be relatively good now. Hopefully, nothing.
I'm just looking for the announcement that the race has been kicked off, and we'll go from there. Well, any big predictions looking at the practice times? I think we're going to have like a nice head-to-head battle in both classes. Probably, I think good solid podium fights throughout. I'm just curious to see how the mixed grid really comes together.
Yeah, I think that'll probably be the biggest difference between some of the drivers is what happens with some of that prototype traffic and GTM traffic as far as the prototypes are concerned. But my guess right now is that we will see a Bobby P1 in the prototypes, and I'm trying to see. We do have, what do we have? Base Cannon in there for the GTMs, or is he in the prototypes today?
I
Believe
believe Base is in the prototypes today.
the prototypes.
He's in that
Maybe a
Spider-Man one.
strong. Yes, yes, he was. Yeah. How can I forget that? That thing was so cool. So maybe a Base Cannon P2, possibly P1. You know, we'll see what the race pace looks like. But I think we're going to be pretty. I'd be pretty far fetched to say Dimitri doesn't have the GTM here. But Ayash was, not far off whatsoever. So if that race pace stays together and he stays with Dimitri, some of that traffic could go his way. So we might see a Ayash and the GTM clash.
Yeah, that would certainly be an exciting outcome for today. I do see that the warm-up session, the 10-minute practice session to join, has launched. So we're going to work our way in and take a peek here at how many make it onto the grid. This is some exciting stuff. Why don't we see if we can get one quick interview before we go. I know we only did one today, so we'll see if Project Purple is around to accept his. Oh, we got Govin who is interested in doing one. Let's see. I'm gonna let Govin come on. We'll see if we can get Project on as well at some point. Govin, welcome to it.
Hello.
How
you been?
Very good, very good. We're excited to have you on the grid here. You definitely put down some solid times in your practice session. Are you having some any big plans for the event? Any alternative pit stop strategies we might expect to see?
Honestly, qualifying didn't go as well as I thought it would go because I thought I could get a few more. A little more tenths on the clock, but I couldn't. I messed up my final lap. But apart from that, I'm not sure starting last is the best place to be, and I'm not very very optimistic for a podium. But we'll see how it goes. I just think we have to work on the strategy as it goes on.
Yeah, Govin, and I'm just curious. We are going to be having that low grip as we load in here. Just a real quick question: do you think it's going to be a 2-stop for you today, or do you think you might go for a 3-stop in the prototypes?
I think you can do a 2-stop, but a 3-stop you might just end up losing a lot of time because, especially with the GT3 traffic that comes in, even the LMDH class, it's going to cost you a lot of time if you go for that 3-stop. But I don't know. But maybe with the 2-stop, it might just be a push, but you're going to have to go full tank every single time. So we'll see how it goes.
Absolutely.
I was muted,
we also
sorry.
do have. No, you're all good, buddy. You're all good. And we do have Project Purple here, and a question for the both of you: how do you plan on managing the traffic? I mean, is that a concern for you guys today, or are you thinking you can be able to get through the field nose clean?
Well, Sector 2, that is going to be insanely difficult with, all the off-camber, elevation change. There's almost no room for error there. But if I can get them on the straights, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, I think I echo Project Purple's thoughts exactly, but honestly, it's still gonna be a lot of, I'd say, interesting fights going up and down the field. If you are looking at even LMDH cars lapping GT3 cars while fighting each other, it's gonna be a bit chaotic, but I think we just have to work our way through it, and it's something you have to be prepared for in these endurance races.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking here at the practice as everybody starts to head out, which obviously we'll let you guys join in a session, and you can already see this grid gets real spread real quickly, so it's going to be interesting to see the way everybody works around each other. Well, but there's only a few minutes left, so I'll let you guys focus in, gentlemen. Good luck tonight. We're expecting to see some big battles.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Good luck, boys.
Cheers.
All right. Well, J2, we are looking at Mateus Albuquerque and Botlando currently working around the track, not together, but in succession with each other. I did turn on the tire type so we can take a little bit of a peek at the alternate strategies some of these guys have. We do see soft tires on a few racers, medium for Tall Tech, who does set up the first clean lap of the evening with a 139.1. But with everybody on their outlap, nothing means anything just yet. It'll all come down to when the first few racers get around the grid.
Yeah, and I'm real curious to see how that. For those who don't know, the MHT and the SHT is the what is it? Is it the medium heat? What is it called?
Yeah, it's
There's a
like the
very specific
medium
name.
heat tire and the soft heat tire, something like that.
Something like that. I can't remember. I didn't drive a G
It sounds right to
prototype, so.
me.
Yeah, but so that's the difference between the mediums and the softs for the prototypes. I believe the GTMs are all same tire, if I'm not mistaken. But not same tire wear. It's going to be a huge factor for these drivers. They're going to have to take it into account, and they're going to have to be careful about it because, like we've said before, the gravel is going to be. The gravel is just not where you want to be at the end of the day. And if you do hit the gravel, like we saw there with the prototype, it may be the end of your day. So, on here with Marco working through the first sector.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work my way through, catch up on some of the liveries, check in with some of the different racers as we take a look at how they can do for lap traffic. Looks like we have one more racer who wants to squeeze in an interview, so we'll see if we can grab him on quick. Do you see Yamper in the chat here? Hang on, it's not showing me everybody. I don't see Yamper.
He's in our text chat, but not in our thing. But if you
Yeah,
just
if
come
you
in
join
here,
the
I'll send him a
audience,
message.
oh, there he is. Okay, yeah. And we can
Yeah, there
invite
you
him
go.
to speak.
Pull him
All
up
right,
here.
try and grab one more.
Hello.
Hey, Yamper, welcome to the
Yamper.
broadcast.
Yeah. Hello.
How's
Yeah.
it going?
Now, the qualifying, like, yeah, it could be better. Like the start with the GTMs, like, was annoying. You know, the skins and you were just out the flow. You're just because you need to fix everything. Everything changed the flow of the. But I would say we recovered quite well. I'm happy with my lap time. Yeah.
Yeah, and Yamper, I've been asking everybody this, but what do you feel about the track grip, ramping up towards the middle of the session rather than towards the beginning? Are you worried about how the track grip will be?
Um, well, I find it a fun concept, but like I don't really notice the grip. I'm like don't know where I need to improve, but like I'm so slow, I just don't use all the grip. I think so.
I mean, that might be an advantage, honestly.
Yeah, I
You're
gotcha.
not you're going to be able to hold more consistent
For
laps. You're
sure.
not
At the
relying.
start, yeah, at the start we probably will be better relative, but like when the grip goes up, like I think everybody will be around 2, 3, 4 seconds faster in the same class. So we're fighting for the background here.
Of
I
course, and another question I always have is how are you going to deal with, the traffic coming through the race? Is that also a concern?
Well, we like we do a drive stop, so we have I would say we have more energy, especially to the end, because then I will drive to the end, and then like I'm like fresh. But like yeah, we're gonna see, but I'm worried about that. Yeah, it's like one of our big things, I think. Also, lapped cars because of other car lapping us because we are like 4 seconds slower.
Yeah, that's going to be the most interesting part because this isn't a very long track, so you're going to run into that quite frequently. I mean, have you gotten a good chance to see what that's going to be like in practice? Have you gotten on the track with some of these faster class cars?
Yeah, but not much. Most of the time I was in like I was alone or with like a few GTM cars. There are way more GTM cars, of course, uh, than than GTM of than Hyper. So it's like
Yeah, I mean, so you
yeah,
guys do have the dominance on the grid. As long as you guys stick to like a nice clean pack, it'll be a little bit more on them.
yeah. I also told my friend like it's more about consistency. We're gonna focus on consistency more than pace. It's you're not gonna win it on the first lap.
Exactly.
That's always yeah.
Yeah, that's all you can do is kind of just wait and see what the track holds for you. We do see that they're having
Yeah.
some issues getting things situated with the practice. I
Yeah,
think
my
it's
friend
Hey guys,
also
I came to join updates about that.
okay. What you got going on?
All right, hit us with the
If
facts,
that's all
base.
right.
Yeah.
Go, Vince. Sorry, we're gonna or not go.
Basically, the
Jasper, we're
real
gonna push you
penalty
back
app.
down.
okay, yeah.
Oh, is my VC working? Can you guys hear me?
Yep, you're good,
Yep.
base.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, excellent. Basically, the port for real penalty was ported to one of the other Mugello servers, and Josh's switch. He had to point it at this one. So, getting that figured out. Looks like it's working now. If there's anybody who's having any issues connecting, let one of the admins know, and we'll try to get it resolved as quickly as possible. Thanks everybody for their patience. We're doing our best.
So what I'm
As you
hearing is
guys know.
Josh broke the server to give himself an advantage.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
He didn't even get to qualify. He's been working on the server so much, so yes.
Yeah. He's gonna get to avoid all the chaos and sneak through, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
Perfect. Hey, that sounds ideal to me.
yeah.
Either way, I'm gonna jump back to my VC, but thanks again to everybody for joining and for their patience while we get everything set up correctly.
Hey, great livery, base.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate
it looks
you.
so cool.
Thank Cameron. Everybody thank Cameron Designs. He's the GOAT.
Yes.
Oh, we have been for sure.
All right, I'll see you guys later. Good luck. Have fun. Peace out.
See ya.
Alright.
Let's
Awesome, thank you,
see
Base.
if I can do this without screwing things up. Hey, and there we go. We can get the tires and change through the grid like normal this time. We're back in action, buddy.
All right. Let's go. All right.
We are going to have to
Now
learn these
Grace
track
gonna get
names. So
started.
just if you haven't noticed, J2, in the corner of our screen, the audience doesn't get to see this, but you can see the delta and the track corner names. That's our little cheats.
Yeah.
So I am going to be trying to use the actual track names, but I want all of the Italians watching this race and all of the people who speak Italian watching this race to know I don't hate you guys. I'm not doing any of this on purpose. All right. I've never learned any Italian, so I've never learned the proper way to pronounce Italian. And I feel like it would be more insulting for me to try and pronounce it properly. So I'm going to butcher it. But I'm doing it for us.
I think the butcher will be absolutely fine. I will do my best to avoid that at every opportunity. Because there's no way I get anywhere close. But that should be quite exciting to see as well.
Well, I see a ton of cars out and on the grid managing to get in and race. So that's exciting here. It does seem like they were able to solve a large portion of the issues. I know this is the first race of the season, so things are going to happen, but I see 22 cars on the grid. Hopefully we'll see a few more head out of the pits shortly. Again, on your leaderboard, you can only see those who are attempting laps or who have at least attempted one lap. So you're not going to see everybody, up until the race starts. But we'll see.
And another
how
thing
it
these
goes.
drivers are gonna have to deal with. So sorry, Buggy.
No, you're good.
Another thing they're gonna have to deal with is that dirty air that they're gonna be getting. I mean, we talk about it all the time, just in any type of downforce racing. But I think here it's gonna be a little bit more prevalent. Mugello's got these long, high downforce corners where you really want the car to be pretty planted underneath you, and when you've got a hypercar right in front of you stealing all the air, I mean, you're kind of left out there, in no man's land with no downforce and no grip as you slide a little bit wide.
Oh, Cameron, I do see what you're saying, because we did see the Venus Motorsport stickers on the car earlier. And then we did download some of the addendums, so I'm wondering if maybe that changed things. As that is the danger that we have seen in the past. But I mean, come on, how could you even be mad at that? All right, it's just a practice session. We're good.
Wow, I'm speechless. I have nothing. I have nothing for that.
I don't know. Text found the way to my heart. Apparently, that I didn't even know was the way to my heart. But we learned something together.
My God.
I do not have my wheel plugged in or set up at all, so we're not going to be able to move the broadcast van. So apologies to those whose pit boxes are around side it. You can drive through us. I believe in you.
Drive through us, but please ask us how we're doing before you do.
Yeah.
Because some of these racers, I mean, they're out here and they think the most important part is the cars, but we're important too, Buggy. We're important too.
Exactly. We have feelings too, as we see all these racers heading into the pits, crossing the line for the final time before our 2.5 hour race begins. Is that right? 2.5, right?
2.4. So almost a half, but I believe it's 2 hours and 24 minutes total.
So they're anticipating a little bit of overtime there to bring us right to the 2.5 hour mark, I'd imagine. Smart guys. They know what's up.
Absolutely, and we also wanted to rip 2.4, so that way it almost looked like 24.
I see. Yes, I knew that. It was obvious to me from the start.
Of course. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah.
I like it. You gotta have some fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
So
we're taking note down real quick.
Jawa, I think, mentioned on the broadcast last night, or maybe it was Osh, that this server actually at one point was a hub for underground racing in a GTA 5M lobby, and we used to use the radio channel 369 because in Need for Speed Underground, you would always, like, every time you loaded into the game, it would always be 369, damn G5, you know what I'm saying? So that was always the radio channel, and that's where you could always find the races. I'm not even kidding.
Bro, no way.
100%.
There's no way.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, bro. That's classic. That's actually classic. Oh my gosh. Ugh. The joys of what we'll do to drive a car in any game.
There's only
to amaze me.
There's 5 people on the server where if you look, it says they joined in 2021, not 2023, and it's myself, Mo, and the 3 others are kind of Easter eggs.
Oh. All right. Well, if anybody does find those, hit me up privately so that way I can surprise Buggy by knowing them, because obviously I know them. But if somebody can find that for me, that'd be really appreciated. Thank you. I'm sorry, what?
Now, we do have a little bit of a different situation going on at the moment. We are going to have we are going to have a safety car lead these guys to a rolling start. So right now we don't really have too much going on until that kicks things off. But what we can do is take a look at the grid, starting on the medium heat tires. Is that what medium high temp and soft high temp? That's what Mop Top
Yes.
said. But on the medium high temp, we've got the Bobby Racing. Then on the softs, we got Zenith mediums for Eskies and Base Cannon. Then softs for Purple, mediums for Tall-Tech, and Wasay. Couple of empty spots there on the grid, and then we get to our GTM class, where we have our lead car, Dimitri, followed by El Gorito, Milan, want to say Catalar, Masobrio, Speed Bump, Leor, Marco, Zane, Yossarian, Marco again, Botlando, Juan, Tater, Arg, War Riemann, a little bit of a gap, Mateus, 2 more gaps, Jari, Clutch Russ, a gap to Josh Fulton, and a Kate Silver. So a couple of those gaps are because we just had all those issues up front. A few of the racers weren't able to really connect and get things sorted. Weren't able to get through the issues with the real penalty, but hopefully they do get things sorted overall, as we see only about a minute and 40 seconds left until things kick off here in the real penalty race. You can see that race time up above. It is a little bit of a lie, we'll call it. That is the amount of time left in the race session, but the race hasn't begun. So the real time, you can't really see it, but it's actually just behind the ESR challenge up at the top there. You got a minute and 11 seconds until these guys are going to start rolling. Well, I guess the safety car will start rolling, but they'll roll with it. Very patient drivers on the grid. No one has initiated any false start issues. We do see some friendly flashing going back and forth, as is expected in a proper race.
Nobody quite nailing the engine the entire way to the 0 as well.
Yeah,
So,
always exciting.
That's also nice. But yeah, they just sit here waiting patiently for a start that's gonna be important. These first opening laps are, always, some of the most important. I know we say you can't win on lap 1, but you can absolutely change the course of your race. But you just got to keep it clean, and remember to give everybody the space. Always leave the space. And yeah, these GTs, I believe the GTMs are going to start just a little bit ahead of the, the prototypes will start a little bit ahead of the GTMs. I think they're leaving about a 5 to 6 second gap. That way nobody gets tangled up in the start from separate classes.
All right, and everybody following the rules, waiting patiently. Oh, as I was hooked on a booby, it looks like, but the safety car makes it out of the pit lane, and the grid will work their way up for the rolling start. Safety car today, I want to say driven by Potato. I want to say. I think Potato driving it, if I'm correct.
Look at that.
Yeah, carrying some nice solid pace in that MX-5 as he works his way through the first couple of corners. And let's take a look at your grid today, trying to catch up. Ooh, and looking phenomenal as they do so. Looks like we've already had a few collisions in the GTM pack as these guys struggling to keep the pace together. I think they're trying to keep up with the LMDH, is not really remembering that they're going to get slowed down by that safety car any moment now. So these guys don't need to rush too hard, as everybody trying to. Tater comes to a full stop. Interesting. Well, the safety cars always are, as we have the prototypes have officially caught up.
Yeah, and they're going to need to do what they can to try and keep some heat into those tires, Yeah, the safety cars are going quick for the safety car, but for them, this is about a walking pace. So they're going to have to do a little bit of that wiggling that you're seeing back there. Make sure those brakes and tires are up to temp.
Yeah, we have a lot of bunching up going on in the back over with the GTM class. So those guys also doing what they can to try and keep their tires warm. They're trying to keep a little bit of a gap between themselves and the class ahead. Dimitri leading that grouping. These guys are actually doing a pretty decent job of holding their lines. Look at that.
Applause to the GTM class. That right there was pretty beautiful formation and keeping it clean through the corner. Some absolute goats on the track right now.
Yeah, I mean, worth
Look at
remembering
that.
just how many of them there are too. I mean, they're doing a great job of that discipline. I know it's only a rolling start, so really there's no need for what we're doing, but that is so I think Tater is doing this to try and keep heat in the tires.
Oh yeah, a little bit of a rollback, trying to spin them up and try and get them working.
It's an interesting strategy. Is Tater supposed to be in last though? I don't know if it's a legal strategy, so to speak. But we'll see.
To be honest, I would not. I would not know.
Anyways, we do see the safety car getting ready to pull off into the pit lane as Bobby gets ready to lead these prototypes away, waiting until the last possible second to go. They have to wait until they get the green flag. 80 miles an hour is the cap, and away we go. 2 hours and 23 minutes of racing starts now.
Look at them as they go down into turn 1 there, a little bit on the grass there. I think that's base cannon. Bobby deep into the braking zone, and oh, the rear's gone out, and Bobby slid. Oh, almost going around. I cannot believe how he managed to save that, but that's given the lead to Zenith.
And we see a little bit of rubbing
there. Oh, and some contact. Oh, no. I believe that's between Taltech and I can't see who that is. But that is unfortunate. Oh, and contact for the GTMs.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. Tons of racers getting collected in this first lap chaos. This would be the time, if any, to put up that safety car. Oh, as Masso Brio's tires are just a little bit too warm, we head up a little bit further through the grid as we see guys getting passed up through the grass. War Rahman already our first driver to retire the car. So a intense turn 1 as Zenith escapes up front for the prototype class. Wase getting knocked back to the chaos, has to make his way through the GTMs very early on, so that's going to be tough on the tires. He's going to have to put a little bit more wear on them than these guys up front, as they're already starting to just kind of lap peacefully amongst themselves. Although I say that, in base cannon starting to lose position. So although it is Bobby he's up against, that is one hell of a battle he's stuck in on lap 1 already. Another guy who's going to have to use the tires up a little more than I think he was anticipating.
Yeah, I don't think Bobby, oh my gosh, I don't think Base Cannon was looking to fight Bobby in the very, very opening stages of the race there, but Bobby's spin put them next to each other. Bobby threw cleanly though. Clearly just has that little bit of extra pace in pocket. Base Cannon trying to settle down and get in his groove.
We see a few racers pitting for damage. I'm going to jump back over to the GTMs here. I know we got a few guys ahead of them, but this seems to be one of the big packs. Oh, someone's sending it through the inside. Is that Josh Fulton?
It is.
It is. No, Josh is in the 26 car? Or the 23 car. Yeah, so that's Josh Fulton right here in Techly Racing. So he just got passed by Juan. So that was an electric dive from Juan. Well taken. You do see Tater taking their drive-through penalty, so they are going to be in the clear. Yossarian trying to hold off Marco behind, turning this into a nice little 4-way battle. Although, as we talk about battles, we don't want to miss what I'm going to say is probably some of the few we'll watch Bobby get involved in.
Yeah, looks like Bobby's looking to make back what he lost in turn 1 here, and he was right up to the back of Eskies. But Eskies kind of pulled that gap away through some of that higher speed, but Bobby in a nice position for a tow. We'll see if he can pull it out.
It's worth noting that it is Eskies up in front and then Zenith beyond. So these are all three guys who are lapping in those 24s at a quite ridiculous pace. So it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, Bobby looking to get some of that clear on his wing, and almost into the back of Eskies there, but did good to react to the brakes. He's looking for something. You can see he's just a little bit impatient behind as he wants to see something. But look at this, too wide into the final turn.
Yeah, Yossarian goes, and Marco tries to follow through, ends up collecting them both. That's going to allow a few more to get by. Leor capitalizing on that. Silver going to have the speed to do so as well. Same with Arg and Katalar. Might even see Masso Brio get caught up in the mix. So that is a huge blow for some of those guys.
Yeah.
Well, I guess for just Josh and Marco, but 2 hours and 19 minutes remain. The grid still pretty close together. We do see all of the prototype class has now made it through the GTM. So I think we'll see a little bit more interesting stuff going on.
Yeah, and that was always going to be dangerous, trying to go too wide in that with the back market there. Garrido right on the back of Clutch Russ. Wow, look at that. It looks like Garrido's had an incident that's dropped him down. So now he's looking to overtake Clutch Russ. Clutch Russ, we know to be an exceptional driver. So this is not going to be too easy pickings for Garrido, especially not while everybody is heavy. This dirty air up through this high-speed section is just something else. But the Merc, really good on the brakes. 2 Mercs. And look at that, just about even as they head into the last sector. Going through Pelagio is my guess.
Yeah, at least they have some equal machinery, so it'll make this battle interesting. El Garrito, though, did have the upper hand in qualifying. He'll have to start recreating that soon as the guys up front are getting further and further away. Dimitri now with a 5-second advantage over the rest of his class. We're going to jump over to Booby, though, looking to get in that drafting range of Eskew once more. This is going to be a tricky section to make something happen in. As we see the GTMs battling it out in the background. That's actually El Garrido battling it out with Clutch Russ for a side-by-side in the background. So, of course, as we leave, we're going to have to jump back over because look at this. There's a third car in the mix.
Oh, man, and absolutely no, all caution to the wind. Almost 3 wide going into turn 1. Look at that. Oh, my gosh. Clutch Russ looks like is behind, and that's, who is that?
Zane Ninja, I want to say.
Or no, Botlando's, yeah, in front. Who is that?
I think that's Zane Ninja. Yeah, he's down a lap. Might have had a drive-through to take or something. So he is a blue flagged car in that moment, but he definitely made things interesting, to say the least, as Arg gets overtaken by Katalar, looking for the move on Tater through Fogo Seco. Oh, God, that's not it.
Yeah. honestly, I was down with that. That wasn't too bad.
I felt it. Anyway.
I think you did all right. It looked like when we jumped over here to Ards, there was a little bit of contact as he was passed up by Katelar, right?
Yep, that's what we're going with.
Yeah. As he was passed up there, a little bit of contact, and Juan off the track. Ooh, looks like he's had some contact.
Dangerous rejoin. Oh my God.
Yeah,
all of those tense. Racers able to go, and we might see our force. Oh no, we're not. It's the little engine that could. Marco not giving up, able to get back on the grid. Yes. He refuses to be beached as he makes it out. That's going to be dangerous for the tires, but there's not a lot he can do right now. He's got to just let these guys pass, and then he can get into a safe spot. It knocked him down the grid, but he is still moving. That's going to be honestly massive for his race. You can at least recover from that. I didn't realize that we already have traffic at play here for the prototype class. So let's jump on board with them as they start to make their way through for the first time. Worth noting, Botlando and El Garrito had a little battle of their own. El Garrito coming out victorious, now working his way up to P4 in the GT3 class.
Yeah, and look at these prototypes. Ooh, as Eskies goes a little bit deep there on the brakes. But look at this. I mean, how many laps have they done with traffic? And they are still ducks in a row down the main straight here. One after the other in succession. Base Cannon looking to make a move to get in a podium position on Eskies in the first stages of the race. Let's see if he tries to send it. Look at that, late on the brakes, all the way up the inside. Eskies again with a little bit of a lockup. Oh, and a spun GTM. Oh no, who is that hit?
Looks
Oh,
like
one
it
of the
was kicking
prototypes.
silver, unfortunately. In the GT3, it does hit Eski, but Eski able to keep moving, so at least we'll be able to continue the pursuit of that podium battle in front. Honestly,
Yeah.
the whole prototype class doing a good job of sticking close together. Wasai having a little bit of issues with some lower class vehicles, now able to keep moving. We do see Marco going into the pits, possibly to get some new tires after that incident. I mean, probably would have just eaten those things up, as Massobrio looks to get in on the action between Marco and Josh Fulton. All right, we're going to have to go with Hars and Stajic.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because we do have the two Marcos. But yeah, it looks like he's probably pitting definitely for some tires. He did good to get out the gravel, but I'm sure it destroyed him, and that's not what you want to the start of your stint of a 2.4-hour race.
Yeah, worth noting he is at least back on the track, so that's good to know for his overall race. He has used at least his shortstop. I just can't catch up. There we go. To ours, but yeah, Stajic has at least used a shortstop, so maybe that'll help with the overall plan. He's going for a massive undercut now, but could still work. Ooh, as we are almost missing a battle between Booby and Zenith for the lead. This is a big moment as Booby does come out victorious, but we did see Zenith's qualifying laps, and we do have traffic in front, so this is going to be interesting to see if Zenith can get that position back here.
Yeah, those two prototypes diving down the outside of the GTM. That was actually very good at the GTM to let those prototypes go through. Very, very clean racing. I'd like to see as they go down the inside. Oh, almost contact for Zenith there, but still making do. And I know that dirty air that they're washing onto the GTMs is going to be something to deal with, as Zenith is looking to nip under the GTM there. Does very well, but that's given Bobby a little bit of space ahead, and Zenith's exit is compromised. But Bobby's still having to sit behind another GTM car. This is not a good sector to pass until right about here. And you'll see he dives around the GTM there. Zenith now going to have to deal with it. This is quite a battle. Even after so many laps, they are still so close in the endurance race.
Yeah, and they do have a little bit of breathing space because Base Cannon has a slight brush up with Marco Hars. Puts him in the snapping range of Eskies behind, as the two of them will need to focus on getting through the final lapped car together and get back up to the lead two in front. I do want to jump back to Project Purple and Tall Tech. It seems that lap traffic has come in Project Purple's favor as he chases down the other Spider-Man livery.
Just on the fringes of Slipstream there into T1, looking to go get Tall Tech. I always love it. I mean, they know they're in an endurance race, and they know it's about almost contact between Purple and the GTM. That might have been Josh Fulton.
Yep.
Not 100% sure.
Yeah, no.
But you love to see it. I mean, they race like it's a sprint, and they know it's an endurance, and yet they're still out here vying for positions. Albuquerque in the wall with a nice Honda livery, but unfortunately a little bit dirty at the moment, waiting for a good time to rejoin.
I think we was just trying to let that one roll. Very familiar with how it can go. Ooh, as Massobrio gets passed for possibly only a moment by Cattell. Are these guys having a pretty strong battle through Arrabbiata? As the I don't think this car's got a number on it, but as Massobrio tries to take him on through Sector 3.
Yeah, chasing down here, and this is one of those sectors where the Acura is really a good car if you've got the setup tuned in there. Look at that, so much later on the brakes. He's sticking very, very close to the curb, and it looks like Tellar, yeah, pretty good exit. As they go through here, almost no change. And no, Project Purple in the dirt. Looks like he has had contact with Yassarian. Backing up onto the
Oh,
track. Oh, almost a nasty incident again for Purple, but he did good to not get beached. And oh, that. I'm sure Wase is going to be thinking about that. Purple getting loose again. Oh, tried to just rejoin in the best manner, but that was rough.
yeah, that was a very tough one there. Now in the battle with Wase, and hopefully they can push those two to catch up to the rest of the pack together. 20 seconds isn't that much when these guys are not able to really open up and get their fastest laps in, because we've hit a point where they're going to be in nothing but traffic until they pass Tater. That'll be their next stretch to really open up and do some damage.
Yeah, these prototype cars, I was just waiting to see if Esky was going to stay tidy there. These prototype cars, I mean, trying to deal with this lap traffic, but it's making for a great race. I mean, you know, with these groupings that we have, I mean, they're not leaving, they're not, you know, pulling away too far, because you just have the GTM cars running their own race, and the prototypes have got to manage that.
I do want to check in with the number 26 car of Juan, as they look like they're in some pretty solid position to make a move on the Osirian up front. These guys do have to deal with a little bit of lap traffic
Look
on
at that
their
around
own.
the outside.
Oh,
Ooh.
and
The Syrian looks like
Osirian
had a snap on the apex there, maybe just a little bit on the curb, and snapped right into Juan.
taking the smart move there, and just trying to keep it into the grass. Gets a little distracted by the prototype behind, though, and now the tires are going to be a little bit dirty. This is where things get interesting. Has to rejoin, has Osirian coming up behind, as well as, is that Tater, I believe? Yep, it is Tater.
Yes, I believe so.
And just like that,
doing a
that little
smart
gap
move.
I was talking about is already gone for them to work with.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for the two of them. You'd hate to see that. And Juan doing the right thing there, letting Tater come through while he knows his tires are hot. Garrido here looking for a move on Milan.
This is going to be a battle for the podium, so Milan going to really push hard to try and hold on. Oh, as I want to say Tall Tech comes through, that's going to make things interesting.
Oh man, and that was a good move from Tall Tech. Really just put the car in the empty space there. Said thank you very much, and he is off. Was having none of it being behind that GTM traffic there.
Yeah, that was absolutely a quick move, and it was honestly a great job by Milan and Garrido giving that prototype space to operate. It's worth noting that although these two are battling, they are slowly catching up to speed bump ahead. Only 2 seconds now separating the three of these guys, and then a damning 17 seconds up to Dimitri ahead. That one's going to be a tough one to make up, but 2 hours again is a lot of time. Anything can happen, especially here in Mugello.
Absolutely. And if we've said it once here, we've said it so many times. The traffic is going to come into play almost certainly for Dimitri at some point. So I'm sure the race still has plenty of room to kind of shape up and turn into something that maybe we weren't expecting. I know some people in here rooting for that IOSH podium, some people rooting for that Marco podium. I mean, there's just a lot of competition on the field today, Buggy.
Yeah, absolutely, a lot of competition. Now, I do want to address, I saw a comment about the driving standards. Definitely gonna, it's definitely been an interesting first half hour or so. Probably, well, I guess only 20 minutes to the race. It's worth noting there is a player report system set up for these guys, as we're catching a lot of stuff here on the broadcast, obviously, but incidents can't really be found without the help of the drivers. So after the race, we are hoping that any of the drivers who feel like there's something that needs action taken on it open up a report. We will be issuing out penalties. This isn't like the real rookie events. This one is a separate season altogether, so much stricter rules. We do expect these drivers to follow through with everything discussed on the briefing. They should understand the rules of clean racing, and they should expect to be penalized when they're in violation. So definitely going to be seeing stuff. Yeah, and as Potato said, there is live stewarding going on as much as possible. El Garito hammering through, almost getting a chance to make a move on Milan. Going to be well within the draft down a long straightaway. These cars, though, relatively evenly matched. I don't know if he'll be able to get by. But Milan's going to have to just defend to the inside just in case. El Garito looking to make at least some sort of a switchback move. And will be able to at least put a nose in. But this is a hard section to make a pass on.
But he's shaping it up well, and he has the inside. Ooh, they almost touch it so close, but Milan just barely giving Ayash space. Ooh, as Watse comes through there, and the prototype swinging around the outside. And these two still battling for the podium position. Look at that. Oh, Garito just a little bit wide there. And he's going to have to follow through the high downforce sector here through Casanova. Got lucky with that one, and Savelli got lucky with that one as well. As they swing through here, it's going to be a little bit harder to follow. But coming up to the second half of the lap, Ayash is going to have another opportunity. Will he take it?
Yeah, he keeps sticking a nose in, but he's unable to find the pace to carry all the way through. I mean, that Lamborghini is nothing to mess with. It's got a ton of acceleration, so any straightaway more than a couple hundred meters, and you're in danger.
Absolutely, and that Merc, as you saw into that sector we just came out of, is just so good on the brakes. I mean, it can easily break a half a car length later than anything else out here on the grid. So that will be Ayash's strong suit here, looking to find an overtake in the braking zone. Look at that, the distance closing on Milan, and again, he's going to be in the draft here down the main straight.
Yeah, very consistent between the two of them. We do see Clutch Russ going off the track a little bit further back. Falls now to, hold on here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, P7. So actually, that's not that big of a loss, all things considered. Still making very solid position. I do see a little battle shaking up between Hars and Masobrio through Corintiao.
Yeah, and as long as you're in the top 10 here, there's a lot of drivers on this grid, so that top 10 is going to be a pretty solid spot to be, as these two fighting for what I believe is the 10th position. Cars chasing Masobrio now down the main straight, probably a little bit too far for any of that slipstream, but we'll see what happens as they enter back into the first sector. Going through here, Marco just outside of the top 10 here, and I believe, was Marco one of the drivers we saw with contact on the first lap?
I think he did get caught up in some incidents, although I can't remember. I think it might have been Stajic was the one who got caught up and was really beached. Masobrio saved me from a house fire 13 years ago. All right, so we got some Masobrio fans in the chat, hoping that this gift from God performed strong today. We do want to check in on the prototype class. Really, the only battle going on up there, though, is Tall Tech keeping himself in Eski's mirrors. Eski, not to the point where he'll be having to check back pretty frequently, but he at least knows he's there. This is the second Spider-Man Venus Motorsport racer on the grid, car number 2 for the evening, as both racers will be performing for the entire 2.5-hour event.
Yeah, those VM drivers going exceptionally hard in the paint today, in every class, no matter where they are, and will adopt speed bump today as well.
As this could be the moment, El Garito finally getting more than just a nose in on Milan, but a little bit of contact caused him to stick a wheel in the dirt. That acceleration will hurt.
And look at that, these two jockeying for position here. A little bit of contact on those corners we saw just before, but still keeping it clean. These two racing each other as hard as ever, as if it were the last lap.
Yeah, I mean, El Garito letting him know that if he makes a single mistake, he's going to make a move. He knows he's got the pace to catch up to speed bump if he can get by. And they do have Project Purple now stuck right in the middle. That's going to be a tricky spot for this prototype to get by without affecting this battle. And honestly, it
look at
kind of
that.
does.
Yeah, it's just spread that gap between El Garrido and Milan. Oh, just a couple car lengths more than I'm sure Garrido would have liked. Traffic definitely came at a bad time for him there. But I think he's going to keep his head keep his head down, and keep his nose in for this podium position.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have to be cautious on the brakes for a moment or two here, so you will see him start to close the gap as his delta is going to start to creep down and down. Worth remembering that every second that these guys battle, the guys in front get further and further away. Speed bump now 17 seconds away from Dimitri, and then he is 4 seconds clear of these two, who at one point were only 1.5 seconds back and closing. So this battle really starting to take its toll on these guys. Only 10 minutes have passed, but that's a lot of time to lose in 10 minutes in a track like this.
Yeah, I'm sure Garrido is wishing that move on Milan would have stuck the first time he tried to send it. But Milan did a great job to defend and then got good with some of the traffic there. Garrido trying to break down the outside. And again, these two bumping through the corners. And Milan again pulling out just a little bit in front. And he closes the door.
Wow.
Just barely on Garrido. My gosh, these two are putting on a phenomenal show back through Arrabbiata. Oh my gosh.
No, I feel like you got it that time. Oh, is they're going to have a little bit of lap traffic at a dangerous spot? No, they get by cleanly. This is a huge battle between the two of them, and they're doing a tremendous job keeping it clean. They've both been leaving a single car's length of space for the other, but the other controlling and only needing a single car's length. So this is electric to watch here. Worth noting they still have 2 hours to go, so I don't know how much time they want to burn with these antics. I think if I'm Milan, I would probably think about letting Garrido go, because if he can get into this same kind of battle with Speed Bump, you can close that gap up ahead. And it looked like Milan was definitely lapping at a pace to overtake Speed Bump earlier on.
I don't disagree, but I gotta be honest. These drivers, they're not giving up. You can see that Milan squeezing Garrido on the main straight here. These two want to fight for this position, and both equally think that they can catch the competition in front. Milan with a little bit of a lockup there, and Garrido getting through, but Milan keeping the nose in. Garrido having to give him space. Cannot close the door on him quite yet, and Milan looking for a switch back there, but not quite. We'll see if he does a move on the brakes, but the Merc so good on the brakes into this sector. Garrido staying ahead, and he may have sealed the deal.
That might be the one he was looking for. At least one that's enough for us to look over at another opportunity. I do see Tall Tech up ahead trying to get the move on Eski, so we'll see if we can catch both of these. As Tall Tech able to send it through the inside, as you see a little further up the road. Josh Fulton trying to do the same and keep his spot to Ketelar, but not able to hold on, as the Lamborghini outshining the Merc in this battle. Now Ketelar pushing up 7 seconds to close to clutch Russ ahead.
Yeah, it looks like Ketelar had a little bit of a slide there. I say a little bit, it was actually kind of big, and is now kind of just in the striking range of Josh Fulton again after just passing. So we'll see what happens there. It's worth noting we also have the Manufacturers Championship, so you can choose a manufacturer of car to root for as well. But here in the prototypes, just the drivers, these guys out here fighting for their name and their ego, as Eski's chasing Tall Tech. Looks like Tall Tech got that move pulled off earlier.
Yeah, the Bolivian racer really pushing hard to get that position back, using lap traffic to their advantage a little bit, as they are now within half seconds. They were slipping back a little bit quicker earlier, so some solid pace here, and they are able to not lose too much time till the traffic ahead. So not too bad. They are going to have to work hard to get that position back. Same goes for Yossarian, looking to make a move on Marco Hars. Both racers slipping farther and farther away from Masso Brio, the unofficial fireman. further ahead.
Oh man, yeah, Master Vito is definitely going to be able to smell this one brewing up because it is starting to get a little bit hot back here, a little bit tense. Yassarian now in that range of Hars. He's looking for a move at any potential spot. I think he wants to make one quick, easy pass. We saw Yassarian with a little bit of contact earlier. He's looking to make that back up. Doesn't want that to affect his long-term race here. But like I said, that dirty air is just something these drivers have to deal with. And with the tire wear and the weight of the car, it's going to be hard to just make an overarching move. But look at that.
That's Mateus Albuquerque again caught up in a bit of a bad situation. That's going to be a bad spot
and
for
he's
this.
Coming right onto the racing line.
Oh, man. Thankfully, nothing ends up happening as both racers able to get by him cleanly. If he's going to make a move, now's his chance to go, as he's got another racer catching up behind, this time the car of Dimitri Oss. So the lead car looking to lap him. This is going to be an interesting moment where he's got to get the blue flag off cleanly.
Yeah, and a little bit of light flashing there. Looks like he knows well that Dimitri is going to be coming through. And Leor, look at that, trying to go around the outside of Botlando. And they touch. Oh, just barely tapped Leor, and he's gone. Botlando, I think that was Botlando, yeah, with a little bit of contact there. And Leor not able to save himself from that. That's unfortunate for Leor as he drops down. Oh, kind of getting close to, I believe that's Clutch Russ they're passing through.
I think that was going to be one of the lap traffic cars of Zeninja, who's currently sitting down a little further back at the pack. But yeah, certainly still a rejoin is a rejoin. It has to be done safely, so something to look at. Base Cannon, though, only a couple of tenths off of Zenith now in the battle for P2. I honestly can't remember if Base Cannon, how close they were, but I think it was a 4-second gap or a 4.5-second gap, if I remember correctly. Booby now has opened up the lead to 13.2 seconds. So I'm going to say there was a couple of incidents with some of this lap traffic shenanigans. As Leor looks to have had an incident, falls now back behind Josh Fulton as well.
Yeah, and these two are going to have to manage that traffic. Going around that GTM traffic is like almost having another prototype sometimes in terms of the time you're losing. Trying to get around them cleanly. Look at that Base Cannon all over the rear of Zenith. No space at all, but it's well within the slipstream range. So I think we're going to see a move from Base Cannon here to move up into second position. We know Base Cannon is absolutely deadly when he's in that race trim. So we'll see what he can work with into the braking zone.
And he's managing to hold off pretty well.
Yes, we pass an absolutely beautiful livery of the GTM there.
Yeah, this lap traffic is interesting. Oh, as these guys try to split the difference, always dangerous. As the prototype of Zenith manages honestly to get back on in a decent spot, but it's going to be all sorts of chaos as he tries to get a rejoin and through the pack cleanly. Eventually managing to break through, but losing 2 seconds in the mix. A little further back here, we do have Project Purple looking for a chance on Wase. As Wase is going to opt to go into the pits. I think he sees what's happening and doesn't want to risk losing time to a battle. Jumping back a little further to Juan, trying to make a move on Yossarian ahead. Only half a second now between them. Close enough to where a proper exit here can put him in drafting range, but it doesn't look like he's going to have the pace this time around, so he'll have to line himself up one more time.
Looks like he's holding onto the fringes there. Yassarian had a snap going into that corner, but seemed to keep it together overall. Ketelar now chasing this battle up here in front.
Yeah, just double checking. I saw that he got knocked through by some of the contact ahead. Doesn't look like anything too major happened, though. I think he just lost a spot, if I am looking correctly. I do see Milan and Eskies with a little bit of contact, but doesn't look like either one of them really suffered too hard in the mix. I know we got a couple of battles shaking up right now, but we'll see. Clutch Russ and Botlando battling it out as Clutch Rust tries to get by. Someone needs to start closing this 25-second gap to the lead 4 cars. That is a dangerous gap to have with basically 2 hours left of the race.
They're going to have to see what they can do about that. A good tire strategy may bring them back into a contention for that win there, but I mean, Dimitri not even really being affected by the traffic, it seems. He is just on his way out.
Yeah, he is keeping a very strong pace now, 22 seconds away from speed bump and growing as El Garito gets to within 1.2 seconds of speed bump ahead. So after passing Milan, doing a good job of closing that gap, not wasting any time at all. He knows he needs to get by if he has any chance of getting the win today. It's not out the door yet. It's just going to take some amazing laps, and he's really going to have to hope that the traffic starts to hurt Dimitri. Usually I'd say he's going to have to hope for a mistake. Oh, it looks like Speed Bump gets caught up with Eskies, a little bit of contact as Eskies gets through the lapped car. A show we've seen before. As Speed Bump, though, falls a second behind El Garito now, who is able to take advantage of the misfortune.
Garrido there, it looked they were extremely close already, but it seemed like that contact just sealed the deal. And Garrido now up in a second. He's going to be chasing the lead of this race.
Yeah, we see Wase going for their long pit, which is a, ooh, I was going to say interesting spot. Oh no, we've got Mateus possibly beached up again in a tricky situation.
I think he's going to get out of this one, though. Seems like he's still rolling. That might seal his fate.
Yeah, you gotta keep it easy. Yeah, you cannot gas too hard. He's almost there, though. He's got to be careful and not too anxious with the rejoin, as he's got a few other cars coming up behind him, namely the lead car of Bobby. This is going to be interesting, but he manages to keep it clean, keep the pace. He's actually just holding on the grass until those guys get by. I feel like he's doing all right.
You know what? I'll give it to him.
That is the best he could do with that situation, as he's got a little bit more lap traffic coming up behind him. His tires are in a tricky spot, and he doesn't let it get in his way. Ken Silver losing a position to Marco Stajic as they head towards Arrabbiata. And it looks like he's just low on power compared to Stajic ahead.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on. I mean, maybe he's carrying more fuel, maybe he's carrying a little bit more wing. Because you see there through the corner, he has a decent amount of pace there, so could just be a matter of having a little bit more wing on than Stajic up ahead.
Yeah, certainly.
But it's a long race. We could see a strategy, honestly, take Kicking Silver up a little bit further. Ooh. Zane Ninja. Oh, and in the grass. Oh, I thought he was going to go out and hit the other car there, and he gets on the curb. Trying to give enough space to Zane Ninja. Jari on the curb there, spinning out. Oh, and the rejoin. Oh, was almost deadly.
I don't know how there wasn't contact there. That's going to be dangerous for Tater, who has to slam on the brakes to avoid contact. We do see a few other racers who did end up clipping further up the road. Looks like it's going to be Arg, and someone else is now caught up in the grass as these two try to rejoin. This is going to be tricky. Yep, Hars and Rs. That's a bad situation for a lot of racers to be in. I'm anticipating several stickets getting opened up along the way there.
Yeah, that'll definitely be one that they're going to talk about after the race there. The rejoin was just so close to this prototype cars, and I think that got the GT3s all out of whack too. And oh my gosh, a massive contact there. Oh no, that's
going to be Arg and Juan.
And Juan, yeah. That is unfortunate. I'm not even sure what's happened to them. But some massive contact, that's going to hurt their race. So they're going to have to try and keep their noses clean. They're going to have damage and hot tires now. I believe that's El Garrido passes through. Ooh, and speed bump back there as well, passing through some of that lap traffic. A lot of contact in this stage of the race. Everybody's starting to get kind of caught up in the traffic and the tire wear and the temps. And things are just going a little bit awry as Botlando goes in to take a long pit. That's completed for him now. And speed bump coming up to the back of Arj here, who has another massive slide and almost hits speed bump. Holding his brakes well, Wase goes through, waiting for more traffic to go through. He still doesn't really have room.
Yeah, this is a tricky spot. So I did send a message to the entire grid just to clean it up. Obviously, not every racer is included in that message, but enough racers are to where it was just easier to send it to all of them at this point. Getting a little dangerous out here, and we do still have an hour and 45 minutes left. This is not something we're really looking for in our endurance season. So we are expecting the racers to have a better next hour and 45 minutes, especially those who are tracking the broadcast, as you can convey to your teammates to get shit in order.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, these drivers, like I said, the tire wear is high, the track grip is still low, and you know, you just gotta be careful. You just have to stay in a comfortable range, and you don't want to be having those moments that are causing those 2, 3, 4 car pileups, especially impeding the faster class as well.
And speaking of the faster class, I do see Base Cannon is within view of Bobby up ahead. Only 2 seconds separating them now. And taking a look at the live timings, there wasn't any pit stops or anything like that. So just a bad lap somewhere along the grid for Bobby, I'd imagine. As I think, what was that, a 13-second gap to P2 at one point?
Yeah, it was somewhere around there, 13, and now it's disappeared. I mean, I don't think it would have been pit stop range. So maybe some incident catching Bobby awry, or maybe a little bit of that traffic that we saw earlier. But Base Cannon, 3 seconds and closing now. And look at this, as far as I can tell, the hypercars, I mean, has anybody come in for a stop in the hypercars besides Wase?
Not that I can see. No, it's just Wase. Actually, Zenith has come through for one in their MPH, but that would be the only two. It looks like Zenith actually pitted to shift over to the soft heat tires. There we go. I was able to say it.
We got
and
there.
Bobby ends up coming in now to try and go for the undercut on base, it seems, as a few other racers are now looking to stay out as long as they can and prove that that's not the strategy.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised at the distance that the prototypes have been able to go without a pit stop. They've done well to manage, you know, all of that in Project. Ooh, having an unfortunate moment. Oh no, I think this. Oh, he saved it. He saved it. There we go. Purple having a little bit of a moment, but being able to save it from getting stuck in the gravel. That was almost race ending for Purple there.
Yeah, absolutely dangerous. He does get passed by Zenith, who already has completed one of the pit stops. So that is a tricky situation to be in at this point in the race. Now having to make up basically an entire lap along the way.
Yeah, not only that,
basically
it's
just a pit stop
is also going to be hard. Yeah, but being you know, down a position and down a pit stop is never where you want to be. Into the pits now. Surely he'll be out on a long run.
Yeah, but speaking of where you want to be, Zenith did go for the undercut strategy and now finds himself only 0.3 seconds away from Bobby on the soft tires versus the medium tires. It's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out as Karma picks up a 15-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane. I think that's going to be Karma Silver.
Zenith smacked speed bump going into the high speed there. I think he just thought he had more room, and the GTM just had no downforce from the cars in front. Zenith coming out of that battle for the fight with Bobby.
Yeah, that was a very, very key moment there for Zenith. Needed that one to go perfectly, and certainly is not going to be happy with how everything played out. We do see a few other racers completing their long swaps, doing some driver exchanges as the grid starts to bunch back up again slowly. Now, that difference in who did a long pit versus who did a soft pit is going to be very interesting to see, because we don't really have a running list of who has live on the broadcast to check. Penalties are added to time, Karma. Sorry, I just saw your comment. They're just added at the end. If you feel the penalty has been given unjustly, you can just open a ticket to dispute it at the end. It is a automated system. Mistakes do happen. Zenith looking for make their way through lap traffic now. Man, just Zenith can't catch a break over these last 2 laps. We've been sticking with to see if anything can happen, but doesn't look like they were able to make it work. We now have Vigo heading by closer and closer to Josh Fulton. I've been noticing this battle start to shake out. Fulton's been getting a little bit closer, but Fulton's been able to hold off a little bit, but it's getting to the point where I might take one of those pit stops, as neither one of them have, just to avoid losing time to the battle, as they already are fighting the traffic in front.
Yeah, I mean, these drivers have got to be thinking about the strategy that they want to go with, and when is going to be a smart time to pit, maybe getting some clean air and just set some fast laps. I mean, you said it. Oh, as Garrido comes in for a long pit there, around at the half-ish waypoint. Just having to come through the traffic, you're going to be losing that time. You're in a battle that, you know, is close enough that I would say for a undercut or an overcut to work, you've just got to pull it off. And, oh, Vigo into the back there of, I cannot remember who is holding our favorite
Tex.
delivery. Tex. He is, yeah. And Project Purple in for a long pit as Wasay swings around the GTM traffic. So we see an absolute banger on the track, no doubt about that. And speed bump, 30 seconds for speeding as he goes into the pits. That is deadly.
Is huge.
Yeah. That is going to take him out of contention for, I mean, probably a win, possibly a podium at this point. We'll see how things shape up, but that speeding penalty is not one that you want to get during the race.
Yeah, 30 seconds is, I want to say, the tier 2 penalty, so it came in with quite a bit of speed, unfortunately. No pun intended. So we'll see what happens there. Now, the one interesting thing about the long pit versus the short pit is all of these guys are familiar enough with fuel to know roughly when the pit windows are going to be open for their opponents, but they don't know what order they're going to be taking their pit stops in. So that's where things are going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to, you know, just have a race where you're trying to match the pit stops, but it's a whole nother when you're chasing your enemy and you think you're both going in for a long pit, and whoop, off he goes, short pit, and he's gone, and you're sitting there 3 more minutes to go wondering, how are you ever going to catch up?
Yeah, right now for the LMPs, it looks like the best pit window is going to be anyone who can get out right before Project Purple, it looks like, in P8. Anyone who can come out right around there. So Purple actually find themselves in the best spot for the LMPs on the track. I would say for the GTMs, they probably would want to look to come out somewhere around Yossarian. That's a nice 45-second gap to the car ahead. And it looks like that is a true gap on the grid, possibly. Or
Yeah,
in front of Leor, that's a pretty good gap as well.
Yeah, Leor would be fine as well. Some of those top runners are going to be searching for, you know, some clean air, somewhere to get, you know, in that free air and just do their laps and not have to worry about so much traffic or possibly competition out there as well. And we see the medium heat tire for the prototypes taking up those top 3 slots right now. Nods to Zenith with the soft, but then Eskies as well on the medium there. And Wase actually. So many on that medium tire right now. It's like Talltech and Base Cannon swapping around. I believe that'll be for a pit stop.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised to see any of them touch the soft tires, only because with what you have to do to get around traffic, it is incredibly difficult to make your tires last in this type of a race. So I think anyone who's taking the softs might be planning to do an extra stop and is hoping that that grip of the soft tire will make up for it. But where you are able to open up the car and see those benefits, I'm not really sure. Obi currently getting held up a little bit in traffic.
Yeah, I'm thinking that medium tire just is, it hangs on longer, and that's obviously the type of stint that you're looking for. There's not a lot of room to hot lap out here. So that soft tire not going to be giving you as much of an advantage as it would usually in, maybe a race where it's all one class. There's going to be constant traffic for some of these guys. And remembering the car is still significantly heavy at this portion of the race as Eskies comes in for a long pit now. Car's still heavy at this stage. They still have quite some time to go, so by no means is the car feeling a little bit lighter. They're still hard to drive, and they're getting the tire wear at this point now.
Yeah.
But, we are, I believe, at 99% grip at this point.
I will say there is a massive gap in front of Yossarian right now. That would be the absolute best spot for these LMPs to come out if they can figure out the time to pit close enough and where exactly they'd come out. Same goes for, honestly, even the GTMs. That is a beautiful window that has finally opened up on the grid. Same goes for anyone who can get out in front of Wase. Not a bad spot to be in. Or for the GTMs, get out in front of Silver. So we'll see who's able to take advantage of what opportunities. I do see El Garito trying to make some moves on Marco Stajic currently. El Garito
gets a little bit loose there.
Has fresher tires as Stajic pit 23 laps ago following that beach incident we saw, and those fresh tires are just dominating as the Mercedes takes off.
Yeah, we saw Garrido get a little bit loose there, trying to go around the outside of Stajic. Kept it clean. Stajic in the Acura here. And what I would assume would be about the middle of his stint there, struggling just a little bit. Speed bump that we saw get a 30-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Oh, a little bit wide with, the traffic. And, as I say the traffic, one of the Spider-Man liveries comes steaming through, almost contact for them, but managing to keep it relatively clean. Solid effort from Speed Bump there.
Yeah, Speed Bump doing a phenomenal job of making it around the track now. Looks like Speed Bump, taking a peek here, has pit where Vigo and Josh both have not. So to be catching up to the battle between them, it's a great spot for this car to be. Again, it does have the 30-second penalty, but is holding a 33-second gap to Clutch Russ behind. So this is the game. He is now racing himself as Vigo pulls into the pits, and it becomes Josh and Speed's battle on the track. Josh really going out for a long stint this time around.
Josh has been out here for a minute, but I gotta say, we're seeing quite a performance from Josh this race. I mean, he has been killing it so far. I mean, great pace, kept it relatively clean, and he's just making the tires last, and it's been a really, really great stint for Josh Fulton. So
now, I said earlier we wouldn't be able to tell who did a long pit versus who did a short pit, but if I'm understanding the live timings board correctly, it looks like our top 3 leaders have all done the short stop for their first session, and the following 3 all did, well, actually, I'm going to say Talltech and Eskies did long, Wase probably did a short, and Purple, I would say, may have done a long. As Speed Bump trying to catch Josh Fulton. This is Josh's nightmare. Does not want to start losing time to faster cars behind, as well as battling within his own class. Loses a little bit of time in the grass. Is now going to have to make a decision. Does he battle speed into this corner or lose a little time to let him by? He's going to make things interesting here, as it is a battle for position. And he doesn't want to get past too easily before he takes his pit stop. If that's
looks like
me,
Speed got the
that's
run
my
on the
sign, I
outside there.
think.
Yeah. I don't know. Dealing with the traffic, I mean, it's hard to keep it clean, you know, and sometimes you think, you know, you have more pace and more left in the tire, but obviously Josh Fulton does not and comes into the pit to end his stint there as Garrido chases down Speed Bump.
Yeah, Garrido has done their long pit while Speed Bump has not. Garrido technically a lap behind in the moment, so a passing opportunity here would be massive for the overall race. It would show that El Garrido is progressing on that undercut opportunity. I guess it'd be a severe undercut if you go for your long pit first and you pit stop first, you know?
Yeah, I mean, your stints would be so long after that, though. I don't know if you could really make it work. I could see that working out for you. And to be fair, we know Garrido is somebody who can really, really get the most out of a worn tire. I mean, the man must have just been made from endurance in a bottle, because he's always just able to get an old tire around the track relatively cleanly, making a really great move on Speed Bump there as well, not losing too much time and charging ahead. I think personally Josh Fulton feels that he may still be able to take it to Dimitri, if not secure a second place there.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely doing a strong strategy here. It will put himself in contention with these front runners until all the second round of pits are completed and we see where things shake up. But open air is the key to the game. The longer you are battling it out, not only with your own class, but trying to be cautious of the faster cars around you, the more you have to lose, frankly. And we're going to jump over now to Base Cannon, who's coming up on his second wave of some heavy GTM traffic in the last 2 laps alone.
Yeah, Base Cannon has been making this absolute charge for the win. And, you know, so far, he's looking like it's possible. You know, we've seen some really great pace so far, moving past some of this GTM traffic very, very cleanly, as you can see there.
Ooh, little wiggle.
That. Yeah, I got a little sideways through there, but kept it under control, and an absolutely beautiful, beautiful livery there. All those logos and the Spider-Man theme going so hard.
Making it look easy through Beyond the Deddy. 6.4 seconds separating himself and Zenith. Those soft tires being put to work for the number 2 car, who has made up 2 seconds on that misfortunate incident we saw about 10 minutes ago. So the soft tires are helping with the pace. Booby's not out of danger yet. He's got to keep things clean himself for the next hour and a half, which is no easy feat for anybody.
No, and these middle stints where you're not really racing anybody tend to be the hardest ones that you get in an endurance drive, is when really you're racing yourself in your own time more than you know, racing anybody directly on the track. That is always very difficult to try and keep going and try and keeping your pace up.
I do see another racer has completed their long pit stop. So we got quite a few guys who have made that change. That's going to make things interesting, because a lot of these guys who have done the long pit stop are going to be seeing blue flags left and right, but they're not going to want to give up those positions, because that throws away the whole advantage you had setting up that strategy. Speaking of advantage, Garrido looking to capitalize more on his. Sorry.
No, you're all good. You're all good. Yeah, Garrido What's the GTM he's got up there? Is that
Mercedes.
Marco lap traffic?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, right now it looks like he's actually catching up to Juan, who's within his class, and then ahead of that he does have Marco Stajic currently lap traffic. We did see a retirement from Say Arg, or at least at the moment it's a retirement. Unsure if maybe they're in the middle of their long stop, but do think being 9 laps of waiting, we're gonna say they have retired the car.
Yeah, more likely than not, I would say so. We saw Arj getting a little bit out of shape earlier with some heavy contacts, and so maybe just deciding to put the wheel up. Sometimes once you get into some of those really early on, you kind of realize that the race isn't going to kind of pan out how you thought it was, and you've got to just give her a break for the day.
Yeah, I am trying to keep an eye on the gap between Tall Tech and Base Cannon to see if he's making any progress on closing that gap in the alternative pit lane strategy, but not seeing any signs of fruition there. Garito, though, looking to pick up another victim, this time Yosarian in the number 23 car, so that's going to be an interesting one. And then it's 40 seconds to Maso Brio. So this is kind of the last racer who he's got an opportunity to go after. That's going to be Mateus Albuquerque, struggling today in that Acura Racer. We'll see. Hopefully he can rejoin without losing a spot to Marco Hars, LMP of Wase Anjum, coming through to make things interesting. Project spent a little too much time in his mirrors, though, and lets Garrido slide right by. With that kind of speed, he might have thought it was an LMP coming up on him.
Yeah, Garrido really got to take advantage of the momentum that he had, the traffic passing through him at, exactly the right time, and then Yassarian just kind of got the short end of the stick there, and Garrido made that look extremely easy. So now, like you said, he's on that charge to go get Massa Brio, and he's having quite a strong stint so far, from what we can tell.
Yeah, he's definitely already closing in on that pit stop range to where even a short stop isn't going to be enough to hold off that gap. So this is where things start to get really interesting, because everybody up front has to do the long stop still, if I'm understanding the timings correctly. And at this point, Garrido's just getting a chance to work his way through open air. He really doesn't have a lot going on in front of him. Eventually, he'll hit the dirty air of Jari in front, but I anticipate he'll just move right through that quickly.
Yeah, I've got to say, non-biased party here, of course, but Garrido is looking to be one of my top drivers right now on the field. I'm really rooting for him. He's got a great charge going on, and I want to see if he can bring us some action a little bit later on. Vigo Ketelar moving through Arabiata 1 and 2.
Yeah,
Moving through here in a beautiful livery, by the way. I absolutely love this scheme. You know, it kind of reminds me, swinging down the inside there, some lap traffic.
that's going to be Say Ninja.
Their parts. Very, very nice. But the livery kind of throwing me back to like some old GTA days, if you think about it. Just that real lime color with the white accents.
Yeah,
very nice. Very nice. I'm liking that.
I can totally see it. We do have some more lap traffic coming up ahead. It's funny because all 4 of these cars, I believe, are on different laps of the race at the moment, all on different strategies, suffering different levels of misfortune. As we see Fabio and Karma having a little bit of a battle. Worth noting that we have had the driver swaps, so some of the races that we know aren't the correct names, like Karma has gone in for Tex and is driving our favorite livery of the evening. Oh, look at that. We've got Spider-Man going by it too. That's just a perfect time for all. As Tex managing to stay clear of the traffic, doing a good job of just not interfering with some of these crazier battles up ahead, keeping things interesting as Mateus Albuquerque finds themselves behind Marco Hars. So might have had another incident again, not having the best of luck with the Acura tonight, and now has to fight their way in to P12. Both racers a very solid minute away from getting into the top 10 today.
Yeah, even still though, we've seen Albuquerque kind of struggling with that Acura, but still deciding that the way to go is to keep your head in the game, and you've got to be in it to win it, and he's still in it. So, you know, round of applause to him. Oh, the LMP going down the inside there, and Albuquerque trying to hang it around the outside. Marco Hars says no, thank you. I'll be outbreaking you into the next two and keeping my spot for right now. Albuquerque's still going to be looking to get that move done, though. And that Acura is deadly. I found mostly without the traction control. It's weird. These cars seem, obviously the traction control helps, but they seem to just drive better as a whole with it. It seems like they were almost made to drive with it. So maybe Matthias is choosing to drive without it. I know I was for quite some time, and it looked very, very similar to what Matthias is struggling with now. But keeping his head in the game, you know, keeping the eye on the prize, and you can only commend him.
Yeah, definitely overall having a strong performance today. We're going to jump up a little further up the grid, though, because I see Clutch Russ is closing in on that BMW of Leor. The number 90 car finally applying some pressure to the 17 in front. And I say finally because we haven't really had a strong head-to-head battle ever since the wave of stops. This grid has gotten very, very spread out. I mean, there's multiple packs as we see Stagic go spinning in the midst of some traffic. I don't think any of the cars got collected in it. There's going to be a tricky spot for a rejoin, though, as they not only managed to rejoin, but they managed to pull over to the side. And it looks like Masso Brio was waiting as they felt the initial collision was their fault. I think at this point, yep, they're just gonna get on with their day there. Yeah, I can't say I blame them for that one. You know, you can only do so much, as I think we've got another situation here. Kicking Silver caught up with, I cannot see, I want to say that's Jari in the 51 Lamborghini. So both racers suffering a little bit of misfortune on that end. Bobby seems to have just had a collision with one of the lapped cars. Has a massive, massive hit there to El Garito, who was flying by.
No.
Manages to get right side up, but this is going to be a tricky situation. I don't think we have. And El Garito goes disqualified. He has to retire the car.
No, that is absolute disaster.
Worst case scenario.
Oh no, yeah. That's extremely unfortunate for Garrido. They're flipping the car. I mean, you hate to see that. You really do.
You absolutely hate to see that. That is unbelievable. Garito was having an absolute dominant run here in this first hour, putting in a lot of effort. So we're certainly not happy to see that disconnect. Hopefully, maybe they can still rejoin and get back in the hunt, still put up some solid laps on the grid. I mean, they are certainly well up on the pace compared to a lot of the other GTMs. They can still crack that top 10 if they rejoin. But yeah, that is an unfortunate one to have to even deal with. I'm so caught up in the chaos, I didn't even see who the initial contact was with. It was Booby and somebody that they were trying to get around. From the looks of things, when we joined, it looks like that contact caused the racer to spin out into the middle of the grid, possibly around a blinder corner. I didn't see overall that section of the track, and that led to chaos as we saw Garito go flying.
Yeah, when we hopped on board there, we kind of just saw Bobby in the dirt, and then next thing we knew, Garrido was, doing a kickflip on it. Not sure how he even got into that position, or if it was maybe avoidable, but it very well could have just been something that he couldn't have dodged, which is just so unfortunate. some of these other racers are going to be seeing that though, and they're going to be thinking, well, hey, that's a free position for me as long as he doesn't come back. So I'll take that. But for Garrido, absolute disaster because he was on a charge to get up into a good spot there, and unfortunately it's ended just with the car retiring to the pit lane, it seems.
And that's the jarring reality of these endurance races is that, you know, all it takes is one moment, one misfortune, and, you know, you're out of the race. And same goes for guys who don't get caught up in the misfortune. All it takes is some consistency, and you can really make up a lot of paces just to some of the risks going south. And in this case scenario, it wasn't even a risk going south, just, you know, a misfortunate traffic incident. Again, we didn't see what the initial incident was, so no way to really say who was at fault or what went on, but whatever it was, we are sorry to see El Garrito go. But enough on that, as Base Cannon is applying the pressure to Zenith here, looking to take away that P2 position as the battle for the podium continues. Tall-Tech staying within 1.4 laps to Base Cannon ahead. So it doesn't look like the long pit strategy is hurting, but unclear if it's paying off at this point in time. If we see it go down to 1.3, we'll know for certain that Tall-Tech is making headway.
Yeah, we see Base Cannon here, and Base Cannon and Zenith now coming back together. We've seen these two kind of jockey for position all race. After those stops, they were a little bit separated, but now Base Cannon sniffing for a move on Zenith, and Zenith just getting caught up behind some GT3 traffic. Base Cannon's going to be seeing that, and I'm thinking we're going to see a move down here into the final corner. Zenith trying to break the slipstream down the main straight. It's just not going to happen. Absolutely buzzing the GTM. I love to see it. And Zenith, a little bit in the dirt. Base Cannon goes down the inside, better on the brakes. Zenith is going to have to stick it around the outside here if he wants to keep this position, because this next turn he could have the inside. Maybe, and he keeps a nose in. Look at that. Base Cannon has to leave him the space. Base Cannon now going through on the inside, but Zenith, an absolute killer run on the outside there. Now has the overlap on Base Cannon, but Base Cannon so much better on the brakes, swings around the outside there. Zenith holding on just a little bit. It seems like maybe Base Cannon is going to get the edge out into the high-speed sector. He is. And Zenith is going to have to concede that position. That was a really good move by Base Cannon. Took a couple of corners to get it to stick, but overall got it done.
Yeah, and just to give you an example of Garrito's dominance, he is just now out of the top 10 by the looks of things. Or, sorry, it was basically, I want to say 2 minutes before he fell out of the top 10, so that was definitely unfortunate. Ash, welcome to the chat, man. I am so sorry. We caught the end of that one, man. That definitely sucked. For what it's worth, you were flying so far to the point where if you rejoined the race, you still would have finished within the top 10. That was a tremendous performance. Wrecked for you.
Yeah, that was just so unfortunate for Ayash through there, and yeah, he's saying just straight up lost the tires. So that is that is a heartbreaker for sure. Somebody's saying Ayash needs medical attention, so Ayash, please seek a hospital. If you did hit your head really hard during that crash, I'm sorry, because we did see you upside down. We're glad to hear that you're at least okay.
Try and stick with Zenith here because we do have a little bit of lap traffic coming up. We'll see if that helps Zenith close the gap to Base Cannon. As we see a couple of guys dipping their toes into the dirt here and there, slowing them down. Josh trying to take a wide route, but notices that Prototype barreling down, hugs the corner to allow for them to pass by, as they have 20 seconds to make up to Laor in front and 20 seconds to protect to Massobrio behind. That's quite interesting here.
Yeah, we've seen the corner there kicking, so we're going for another long pit stop, 2 of 1 there on the screen, so that's interesting.
In the words of a world-renowned broadcaster, it's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out.
Yeah, we will see. We'll see what they can do with that. Zenith here just coming up behind some lap traffic now. What is that? 3 seconds to base cannon.
Yeah, 3
So,
seconds
a
to base
little bit of a
cannon,
gap.
but 10 seconds to Bobby ahead. I mean, at this point, Bobby's mostly worried about spilling his macchiato. He is flying through this course with an incredible amount of speed. We didn't, I don't believe, catch the 4 wide through turn 1 here on the broadcast. I didn't even know that happened, but apparently that is how the GTM started, 4 wide through turn 1. So we'll have to try and get a clip of that. Ash, if you can get a clip of that, we can share it on the broadcast after the race. If you can find a way to get that set up, maybe share it over to me, that would be awesome. And then maybe if you could, I don't want to make you relive your horrors, but if you could get a clip of what happened to you there, that whole incident, that would be nice to share on the broadcast. Oh, as we see Marko Stajic in a tricky spot. Could this be the end? We have seen bigger beaches before. Yeah, and look at that, the little engine that could again. Marko is the engine whisperer. We've seen him do this a few times now, to where I think other racers might have called it when they found themselves in a similar situation, but Marko able to escape the beach every single time. That's awesome. That is
Marko.
phenomenal work understanding the traction limitations of the car.
Yeah, that right there that's amazing is what that is. Just straight up pulling the Oscar Piastri, flipping it to reverse and saying, I'm getting out of here no matter what. And wow, look at that, recovered again. Gonna have to be careful about those tires, but nonetheless in the race and still driving.
Yeah, and give me just a moment here. I want to see if I can set something up. Give me just, I'll let you take things over as, well, hang on a second there. What did we just see?
It looked like a GTM flew off the track there. Somewhere down in, I think maybe they've already.
Yeah, I think that wrong's been righted. Oh, no, here we go.
Oh, there it is.
It's going to be Juan this time, who might be facing a beach situation. Nope, managing to get the car going in reverse, which we've seen a lot of other racers having success with. Going to have to be careful, though, because base cannon going to come ripping around this corner.
Ooh.
Oh, and Juan able to hold out and stay out of the way. This is a very unfortunate spot, as they're going to have to wait and hope that they don't lose enough time for Zay Ninja to make their way around. And Zay Ninja has been slowly creeping closer and closer.
Yeah, but Juan there doing well to get it back on track and in a safe manner, so props for that. But some GTMs barreling behind him. We'll see how they fare with that traffic coming up as that prototype goes through as well and is moving through the traffic quite nicely. I believe that's Project Purple we have on screen there. As we hop on, I think that's Bobby coming through there, if I'm not mistaken. Also moving through some traffic. Now we saw that 10-second gap to Bobby originally was at 10 seconds, now 9.2 to base cannon. So base cannon making up a second there, and Zenith falling a little bit back, having some more traffic to deal with. I believe in front of Zenith is Dimitri, if I'm not mistaken. I may be there, but there's just some contact off the road there. Somebody's gone off. Maybe it'll cut back to that in a little bit, but we'll have to figure out who that was a little bit later. Wasei, here we at P7 here, moving through quite nicely. He's got about 30 seconds to the gap in front. Vigo having what is pretty much a really good race. I mean, Vigo is was at plus 51 to the car in front, so a little bit of no man's land, but overall in a solid position. Clutch Russ as well, having quite a good performance so far. Clutch Russ has got about an hour or so left in this, and doing well to keep it. Where is he? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, P6. So very, very close to the top 5 there, but well within the top 10 now. Tall Tech, the other Spider-Man Venus Motorsport livery. If you're looking for a driver to root for today, Tall Tech would be an absolutely great option for anybody looking to root for somebody there. The Estonian driver doing very, very well. As we see the GTMs here, Yassarian, believe that's Tex, and I have to guess, I'm not exactly sure who that is, but the three trailing along together. Back to Zenith through turn 1. San Donatano, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. As he passes through the chicane there. Back to Milan, swinging it through the high downforce section. It's so hard to have a prototype in front of you there because the downforce just disappears. But look at that, Milan doing well to keep it on the track there. Clips the grass just a little bit. Kicking Silver with a nice top-down view. Look at that, riding the curb ever so slightly there, maybe a little bit in the grass. Swinging it around, Kicking Silver's been... He's in the bottom half there, but I mean, just a consistent driver. Always good to see him keeping that nose clean for the most part. Dimitri now. We are on, and this is your GTM leader, ladies and gentlemen.
So real quick, I'm gonna just interrupt the broadcast for a moment, and we'll take a look at the events from Ayash's perspective. We were able to secure that. Just give me a moment here. So if you bear with me, we did have Ash coming around the corner. Oh, to just a plume of smoke. Unfortunate there. So really nothing that he was able to do in that minute. Things that you just hate to see.
Man, yeah, seeing it now. Oh. And then just the flip. That is so unfortunate for him. I mean, you got to feel for the man.
Yeah, that's certainly not what we strive to see in our races here. But, you know, seeing it from his perspective, there really wasn't much he could do to avoid that line through for the prototypes is on that outside lane. So it's really hard to get by anything resembling cleanly. So
yeah, that is
certainly hate to see it
today. And I believe Base waving hi to maybe some fans in the chat there with the wiggle. You saw that on the straight. Maybe saying hi to those watching.
Yeah.
Base getting out here putting on a show. And gap right now to Bobby, roughly the same as it was. Lost a couple of tenths here and there. But he was a little bit over 10 and then kind of dipped down to about a 9. But it's opened back up. But Base right now in a solid P2 on that medium heat tire.
Yeah, so just to recap where we're at with the race so far, we have seen retirements for Wera Remen, Arg, Mateus Albuquerque, and El Garito. Marco Stajic has seen a little bit of misfortune here and there, finds himself 1.7 seconds back from Yari and Silver. At the moment, I believe we've got Sol Baker driving that car, chasing down Jasper and Silver. We then also have the crowd favorite Tex holding off a 20-second lead to those guys, now looking for a chance to catch up to Zay Ninja. Tex actually is being driven by Karma. Karma making that Gosling racer look smoking as they whip it through Donato. We do see our second round of pits slowly starting. I mean, at this point, there's going to be multiple rounds. I don't even know. This would probably be the fourth round of pits if you're really looking at how these waves have really broken off.
Yeah, I'm thinking that this is going to be roughly going to be probably one of the last pit stops we see. We may see one more round if there's anybody looking for a really late pit stop, but I think a lot of these drivers are going to be looking to do the what is the late? Oh, as we see Yari and is that
Marco Hars? Yeah. That's not going to be a great one because Marco is having a pretty good recovery race up to that point, able to make it by and get back on the grid, but has lost several positions.
Yeah, and it looked like Yari there kind of got on the racing line as somebody was trying to come through. Looks like it was clean, but Yassarian also in for one long pit stop.
Definitely a dangerous interaction for everybody involved there. I'm glad everyone able to keep moving. It didn't look like too many position changes happened, but obviously that's tough to tell with just these long and short pit stop differences haven't been sorted out yet. And it does look like we've received words from the stewards. They have mentioned that the post-race penalties are probably going to be very harsh on this first race, just to kind of send a message as far as the expectations for the grid on race 2. So keep that in mind as we head closer and closer into our final hour of the race, which has officially begun, but we'll have to wait and see how overtime plays out. But yeah, keep that in mind as the final standings we see here may not be the final standings overall. You're going to want to check the Discord. Make sure you're up to date on the live. Check the Discord to see what the live updates are as far as penalties and decisions. Oh, as Base Cannon goes by, almost at a little bit of a struggle. And Zenith coming in for their long stop, it looks like. So they're going to switch back over to the medium tires for the final hour of the race.
Juan there having a little bit of a moment, but for the most part got away without getting in the way of the traffic there. Yeah, we saw Base Cannon come through. Base Cannon, I feel like Base Cannon is getting so unfortunate with the traffic that he's having to see right now. And I mean, it's hurting his race time for sure. Look at that gap to Bobby has just opened up. And I think Bobby also putting in a couple of flyers as well. So Base Cannon gonna be doing what he can. But I would not be surprised if Bobby takes that time, as we see a GTM of Massabrio off track there. If Bobby takes the time now to really settle into his position and take his win home. But we'll see how that plays out. Still an hour to go. Massabrio's struggling still with what I assume to be quite hot tires. And ooh,
this is a dangerous spot here.
Close. Yeah.
Now, thankfully, the racers behind him are just finishing up the pit, so he doesn't have to worry about his own class. He does have a prototype starting to rapidly approach and another car trying to unlap themselves, but he gets that beautiful purple and gold back on the track, and Astro racers are back underway here. So not too shabby. I think looking at things, they are still in for the top 10, at least in contention. Yossarian, I believe, is the one capping off that spot, if I can count correctly, which, you know, I've been known not to. But a 35-second gap to the top 10 is not too bad.
Yeah, you give these guys, 2.4 hours, and they still manage to be not too far apart, less than a minute apart. That's pretty impressive, especially with some of the drama we've seen on track today. But Massabrio, yeah, comfortably in the top 10, and just staying as consistent as possible, and he's gonna pull himself a pretty good result. As I believe that's Project Purple swings by and goes through in that green and yellow livery. I believe Purple is in P6 for the prototype class, currently on the soft tire. I believe the only one on the soft tire for the prototypes. Moving on to Vigo Ketelar here.
Yeah, now I am really hoping these guys are using this time to kind of settle in mentally and prepare themselves for the final hour, because the things are going to change. This is, I know I've said it too many times to where it's probably going to be annoying to you, but these pit stop strategies are going to pay off right now. Over these next probably 20 minutes, we'll see all of the leaderboard get shaken up one final time, and then the big battles will be off. So they cannot stop pushing. They have to make every lap count. I am going to step away for just 1 second. I'll let you take over for just a minute or two there.
Yeah, we got Bobby swinging by there just now. I believe that's Leor in front of him in the Beamer. Bobby leading right now by about 11 seconds. So we see that gap. It's still opening up for Base Cannon, not quite going his way. But like I've said before, if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times probably. Base Cannon is a deadly race car driver when you're in that race trim. And you're really trying to be settled in for pace. Base Cannon just happens to pull something out of nothing sometimes. So we'll be looking to see that happen for him, maybe getting a little bit closer to Bobby. Now going around with some of this traffic here, Bobby's going to have to deal with. So going to have to do well to kind of stay out of trouble with that, because even though he is 11 seconds in front, he wants to check out. Still not comfortable enough to have a spin or contact of some sort, but stay competitive there for the lead. I think Base Cannon would overtake at that point Yari here, and we know Yari in that green livery. Believe maybe they have a driver swap going on. Not completely sure, so it may not be Yari on the broadcast there, as I believe we said Karma, I believe was the name, in for Tex there, in what is an amazing livery going around the track, bringing up our rear end, Kicking Silver as well in a little bit of that traffic, and Kicking Silver is looking to get Tex for position, so that might be a battle that we see happening anytime soon. Botlando here leading Bobby as Bobby dives into the pits. Make sure that Bobby hits the pit lane speed limit before they go into before they cross the line there. You don't want to get that penalty. Definitely not out of penalty distance, and Base Cannon will take over the lead of the race and the lead of the prototypes there as Bobby comes into pit. I wonder if Base Cannon is scheduled for another pit stop. I would assume so, but if not, then he would have to hold on for the next hour or so in front of Bobby with fresh tires, and that would be quite a task, but I believe in him. Both drivers are absolutely awesome, and quite forces on track, as we see a force there diving in between the GTMs. Looks like they got through relatively cleanly on Project Purple now. And as we enter like the last 50 minutes here, we're going to see some of these drivers maybe jostle for position a little bit harder than maybe in the beginning of the race, because they know that these ones now, as their strategies start to close up, are going to be for position, as we saw there with Kicking Silver chasing down Tex. Massabrio now on the main straight as well, getting passed up by, I believe that was Wase Anjum, who is on the medium tire up there in the prototypes, doing well to stay consistent as well.
Yes, we have, whoa, a little thunder strike there. Interesting. But we've got Tex now fighting Ken, actually Silver's behind them. Ken's fighting to unlap himself from Zay Ninja in front. So this is kind of a three-way battle for position, as unlapping yourself is a key moment in the race, especially one with almost an hour left.
Yeah, Silver and Tex getting a little bit close there, but now the gap roughly 0.7, 0.8, so Tex still looking to get by, I believe.
Do you think Karma and Tex put a horn that's a thunderclap on the Purple Lightning Lamborghini?
Oh, wait. Maybe. That might have been what we got there. Maybe a slight troll coming out of the car from the team. That would be very interesting. I would love to know if that was actually something that they were able to do. Ooh.
This is unfortunate for Leor. Leor 2 seconds down in their lap in only the first 4 turns of the track. Needs to get by Stagic here, but having a tough time of doing so. Stagic trying to let him by, but not really finding a good way to. And there we go. Finally gets a good opportunity to let him through. Leor 2.5 seconds lost, though, to speed bump ahead. Obviously not what that BMW is going to be wanting at this stage in the race. And you can see that concentration was lost a little bit. A couple more tenths down as we try to get back underway here. I'm sure we'll see that pace, though, close down a little bit. Speaking of closing down, Eskies now 6 seconds away from Bobby. Taking a look at the live timings just to confirm, but I believe, yes, Bobby has just finished their long pit. So Esky will have to do a short pit still at some point, but if he can close this gap even with that tire offset, that's going to be a massive, massive point for the back 50 minutes of the race. as we're
Yeah,
seeing a
if
few more
Eskies
things
can
shake
really
up.
pull that off, I believe that'll be an undercut taken, right? I believe Eskies came in before most people, if I'm not mistaken.
It would be an overcut. Bobby is the one running the undercut strategy at the moment for the lead prototypes. Or Bobby just went for a short second stint. But we do see Yossarian and Marco were battling for position. Marco going to pull in, though, to take care of their second pit obligation. We'll see how that one plays out as Yossarian goes hammering on down Redolino into Donato. I feel like I'm not butchering those ones too bad. I can do those confidently. But speaking of butchering, the lap time of Dimitri going to get a little bit butchered here as he tries to hold his minute-and-a-half lead. Does still have a long stop to take and now has a lot of traffic in his own class to work through. Much harder to get by because these cars are a little bit more similarly paced.
Yeah, not only that, that dirty air again, Dimitri's gonna have to deal with. Yeah, doing well to keep the car on the track there. It's not too bad between the GT3s, but if they do get a hypercar to come through, I promise that downforce will just shed away out of nowhere.
Yeah, and I think I hear one coming behind them. If I'm correct, that's going to be Project Purple rapidly approaching them as, we see Karma going off into the grass. Bit of an unfortunate spot as they start doing a few donuts. We'll see if hopefully they can get a safe rejoin pulled off there. Dimitri, though, now clear of this wave of traffic, going to have some open space to deal with. And this LMP will be able to pass by safely on this straightaway. Oh, or duck into the pits. That's a tricky little pit stop to have to pull off. Has to wedge their way between the GTM class. Probably cost them a couple tenths there, if not a full second, having to deal with that maneuver. But Dimitri will carry on through as Vigo and Marco just try to get some inspiration from the pace.
Yeah, we've seen Marco here. A little bit of struggle earlier on, but as I say it, commentator's curse, I was going to say, is doing quite well to keep the car under control. But kept it going forward there, so that was pretty solid. Jari now on the main straight here. Chasing down. Is that lap traffic in front right now?
I believe so. It's Jari trying to chase down. Well, actually, this is Jasper now in the car. So my mistake. And Jasper is trying to work their way towards the number 19 car of Clutch Russ, I believe. I'm looking at that correctly.
I think you may be correct, yeah.
So Jasper trying to unlap themselves and trying to match the pace of Clutch Russ ahead. Clutch Russ, another one who had a little bit of misfortune in today's events. You do see the timing starting to stack closer and closer together as Speed Bump picks up another penalty for speeding.
Oh, no.
15 seconds this time, putting a total of 45 seconds on their overall race. Eskies sliding through Jasper. Oh, that is just unfortunate.
Yeah, you hate to see that for Speed Bump there. But that takes Josh Fulton. If we were to end the race in these positions, I believe that would take Josh Fulton to P2. Given that nobody has a penalty there. So if Josh Fulton can keep the nose clean and stay out of trouble, he'll be looking at a pretty good result, given that Speed Bump has those penalties. Dimitri still pretty definitively in the front as well. Hasn't had any serious moments, and that's just an example of what happens if you can if you manage to keep it clean and manage to keep your pace.
Yeah, and I did notice in one of the stewards chats, Josh quietly having a very good race. Not to put the curse out there, but he absolutely is. This consistency has been a very, very strong. I think he might have put himself into at least podium battle contention here, if not a secured a podium spot. Trying to take a look at the live timings. It looks like he does have one more pit stop to go, but Milan sitting 40 seconds away and now pitting, so 40 seconds between himself and Vigo, who still needs a pit as well. Oh my god, so it's all the way down to Leor. Wow. Josh actually is in a pretty good spot. Has he?
Yeah.
I don't think he's done his long pit though. That's going to be the dangerous spot. So where he comes out after the 3 minutes is a harrowing question. And I think that's why he's trying to.
40-second gap to Milan, and Milan is pitting. If short or not, I would pit right about now as well.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really have too much open air in front of you now. You've got the number 23 of Jari currently being driven by Jasper in front. So you got to be careful with what you're doing. Josh, now this is going to be the moment of truth. Where do they come out? A speed bump still in the pits, so currently looking pretty good. Again, they still need Josh is still gonna need to do his long stop, but we'll see how that goes. I do see a little bit of traffic getting bunched up, so I want to take a peek here as Tall Tech already lost a second and a half, gets passed by Eski, who's working to unlap himself and manages to hold that power through. That's going to be a dangerous moment for Tall Tech, because Tall Tech, if I'm not mistaken, does still need to do one more pit stop where Eski is on an outlap. So that could be problematic in these final 43 minutes, as Tall Tech starting to feel that tire wear pretty heavily. And we see the lead car Base Cannon going for pits as well.
Yeah, and it's a long race to try and do for yourself. It's a long time to drive. Celtic dips into the pits, maybe looking for a little bit of a break, because it's been, I mean, 2.4 hours, ladies and gentlemen, is no small feat to drive solo. And we do have quite a few drivers out here driving solos, so hats off to them. Wase Anjum now coming through the first corner, going into Luco now, and Hogio Secco doing very well to keep the car under control. It's a shame Wase isn't up there fighting for that, for that lead position, but I think that was some of that first lap misfortune that struck Wase at the time. And I believe Base Cannon has also gone for his long stop as well.
Yeah, so all three cars ahead. I was going to say, I think we are done. Actually, the top four, once Tall Tech comes out, are going to be all set as far as their final stops go. Zenith is on 10-lap old tires, so going to be tough to bring those all the way to the end. Might have to pit one final time, which would be a little unfortunate. And we do see Wase on their 18th lap, so definitely going to have to do one more pit stop. But I think only has to do a short stop, which means them and Project Purple will definitely have a battle to the end. I'm going to take a look a little bit further back, this time in the GTM class, as Marco Har is looking for a way to Masso Brio ahead. These guys have been toying with each other within that 2-second gap for quite some time. We saw Masso Brio with a little bit of misfortune earlier. That's why they're so far back from Yossarian ahead. But these two racers, or sorry, Pilati is actually behind the car, not Masso Brio. And Marco Har is still trying to catch up. Both of these racers have pit. Hars more recently, so Hars is on the fresher tires. Hopefully they can use that grip to their advantage.
Yeah, Hars here is a perfect example of what happens if you can really get some free air, run some really good laps, and kind of keep your head down and in the game. We know Hars had a little bit of some, a couple of tangles early on, and some unfortunate spins and stuff like that. But now Hars doing very, very good to get a recovery drive going. And it looks like kicking Silver 15 seconds for speeding in the pits, so that's going to hurt their race. But
it'll definitely help out
to claw it back.
It's going to help Jasper out, because Jasper's been fighting with Silver for a large portion of the race, so those two will now have a different kind of battle on their hands.
Yeah, that would definitely change the tide of that. And about 40 minutes to go here, but I think things are gonna probably heat up by the time we get to the end. I'm gonna leave you for just a second. I'll let you take over. Just
Yeah,
gonna
no
go
problem.
grab something to drink.
Sounds good. And yeah, we're seeing all sorts of things get changed here as we see everybody trying to finalize their pit stops. Dimitri going in for their final long pit. Osh Fulton taking the lead in the GTM class for just a moment or two here. Osh has not long stopped, I don't believe, so that's going to be the big change still to go in the standings. But Osh might have set himself up for a chance at P4 at this point. I'm not sure how far back the 3 minutes is going to put him. Marco Haars looking at that lap traffic coming at him now. This is where things get interesting. The fatigue will start to set in a little bit. These guys have been going, I was going to say for quite some time, as Pilati gets collected into the wall, heading into Arrabbiata. That does let Haars finally get passed by, and it is going to be a little bit tricky, as I'm sure that one did a little bit of damage there. We do see Wase Anjum heading in to the gravel. Doesn't get collected though, manages to keep going. Speed Bump had a moment with Clutch Rust, but Speed Bump looks to be okay. Looking for Clutch Rust to see they are okay as well and moving. I do see the same thing going on this time with Kicking Silver and another racer. It's going to be Jesu driving under Juan. And Vigo has been kicked from the race. Must have been giving a penalty at some point. I'm not entirely positive what we missed there. At this point, it looks like it's just kind of a game of survival for everybody as we try and catch all the action. Osh Fulton finding himself trying to lap another car ahead while he's got the lead car of Bobby getting closer and closer. So he'll have a little bit of traffic to play with. I do see Speed Bump and Eskies having a little bit of contact. Low grade contact though, so I'm assuming both racers are okay and able to keep moving. Although as I say that, Speed Bump seems to be off the pace, slightly further ahead. So Osh Fulton is a full lap ahead of Speed Bump. Still needs to pit, but seems to be making these tires go for quite some time. Dimitri has closed up 3 seconds since their last lap. As we see Bobby get by, so that actually wasn't too bad. Bobby got by pretty cleanly there. Looking around as we see a few other racers off to the side. We see Jasper trying to get back in the action a little further back on the grid. Doesn't look like they're having a ton of luck there. Trying to see who I think Kicking Silver having some issues with the beach. Manages to get back on the track, but that's going to be a tricky moment for, I believe, Dimitri to get by, but does manage to get so cleanly. Chaos after chaos after chaos. Again, these tickets are going to be open as Booby now trying to make their way past of more lap traffic. Oh, and Jasper picks up a 30-second penalty for speeding. So Jasper was the one we were seeing battle it out with Silver. Silver picked up a 15-second, but Jasper picks up the 30. Not what you want to see at this stage in the game. Speed Bump trying to be aware of the lead car, not affect his race, but also cannot put down the pressure on his own. He needs to build up a 45-second gap to Leor behind with 36 minutes remaining. And yeah, losing these cars at high speed definitely takes a huge toll on the tires. We've seen some serious stuff go down as many racers have left the grid in frustration from those events. We do see Stagic, Garito, Albuquerque, Arg, Roramon all leaving at the minute. Still have not received an update from the stewards regarding the racer who was kicked. We'll see if we do get any word later on as to what happened there. Again, we're going to think it might be a penalty given that was ignored as far as some kind of stop-go situation. Unclear at this time. Speed bump heading through with a pretty quick lap, a 148. Doesn't help him catch up to anybody in front, but does help him as far as putting off some of the racers behind. With 34 minutes remaining, Josh Fulton does finally go in for their pits. I believe this is going to be the long stop for Mr. Fulton. So we're going to have to see where he comes out. It's 3 minutes long, though, so we're not going to watch that closely. Ooh, as Tater goes off in Poggio Secco.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Tater. I was reading the chat. We had somebody kicked, or
well, that's what it said in the chat, but I just received word from Ash. Vigo did not get a penalty. He blew a tire and had to disconnect. Not sure why it read as, oh, you know what? I think if you blow a tire, it does disconnect you from the race or something like that, because you can't, you get disconnected if you get kicked if you teleport to pits. So
yeah, no teleporting allowed. So it's unfortunate for Vigo. I see looks like we lost Marco as well. That's unfortunate.
Yep, we did end up losing Marco Stajic, and then as we saw earlier, El Garito was collected in the chaos. Quite a few souls lost. We are at 6 racers, not going to be able to finish it out of 29. So we're down to 23 brave souls left on the grid. All of the retired cars, GTMs, our prototype class, managing to stay strong and keep pushing, as Zenith is actually creeping up closer and closer to base. We're not going to jump over to it just yet, but there's certainly some action brewing between them.
Yeah, and it looks like base has fallen off, not quite so close to Bobby as we saw earlier. Bobby now just checking out in front there. 66 laps deep. But the GTMs, still a couple of gaps here that could very well close up by the end of the race.
And Fulton has to be getting going soon, because this is around where I thought he was going to come out. But let's see what that gap is to Leor. Still waiting for the all clear to go, it seems. This is a much bigger gap than I thought, as Leor now 30 seconds away with 30 minutes remaining. Very difficult amount of time to make up. I do see some action going on, though, between Yossarian and Botlando. Botlando did have some strong pace, but Yossarian applying some serious pressure ahead. As we've got...
Yeah. Oh, no, sorry. Possibly Jasper.
Yeah, I think that one's going to be Jasper, who manages to keep moving, but causes a little bit of chaos in the mix. As we see a 3-way battle here. Ash Fulton still in the pits, hasn't come out yet, and finally does. Rejoins in overall P14. That's going to be P7 for the GTMs, with quite a lot of work to do to get back up to the podium hunt. So that long strategy didn't pay off as much as we thought it was going to. A bit unfortunate. We were rooting for him to see that podium fight. It's going to be a long battle to get to that stretch, though. As
and we see now that Joel Baker actually blew the engine up in the Rockets car under the Marco Stajic name, so that's unfortunate for that retirement as well.
Yeah, definitely don't want to blow the engine. That is a harsh way to go. Yeah, just a harsh way to go. Sorry, I was looking at some of the gaps here. Yossarian, though, does seem to be the closest one to Botlando. I will say they might have to pit these two. Yossarian's 16 laps in, so Yossarian stands somewhat of a chance to making it to the end, but I really think both racers are going to have to pit. So Fulton will at least get by them. So it really becomes a question of how much time can Fulton make up to Leor in front. As Botlando makes it easy for Yossarian there.
Yeah, just going a little bit deep, maybe looking in the mirrors a little bit too much. Yari, and I believe that's Hars there. Walking down the main straight. Yeah, I mean, if Botlando is in, so Josh will take that position very gladly. Spider-Man car swinging away in the distance there. And Josh will presumably also take Yossarian's spot as well if Yossarian pits again. Yeah, it's just the gap to Leor, speed bump, and Mylan that is gonna be a hard one to kind of get down. But fresh tires, lighter car, could very well go in his favor. We cannot forget the added effect of traffic. We are now at 100% grip, ladies and gentlemen. So the track fully gripped up from the start of the race now, all the rubber laid down, and these guys are going to start setting laps maybe just a little bit faster if they've got some newer tires, because the track is just more grippy.
I just see Wase trying to look for the opportunity to unlap themselves to Eski in front. Eski trying to work their way into a podium position, has a lot of work to do with not a lot of time left, but also hoping that Zenith ahead pits and makes it so they only really need to close a 20-second gap to make that up. Wase, though, putting on the show with those slightly older tires. Actually, it's going to be, slightly newer tires, as Wase is on 5-lap newer tires. Sorry. Forgot that Wase looking for the unlap opportunity.
Yeah, and it looks like Wase definitely dumped some of the battery, moved up into a higher mode during that straight there just to try and get the move done quickly on Eskies. You don't want to lose time, especially not while you're trying to unlap yourself. So Wase doing well to keep that clean, and Eskies just settling in and running their race. I mean, 20 seconds is a long time, but it's absolutely possible if you can keep your laps clean and consistent.
Yeah, I mean, everybody around the grid has been doing a decent job of keeping it on the track now. We obviously had a lot of issues earlier on, but things are starting to come together here in the final half hour.
Yeah,
As
see some traffic here, yeah. Oof.
Makes things a little interesting, though.
It absolutely does. I mean, so far, I will say mostly, well, RIP Iosh, but mostly the traffic has seemed to be okay. A couple of here and there's, but en masse, I think the prototypes have done well to navigate through the GTMs.
Yeah, and I just want to check over with Josh Fulton because he's actually looking to set a personal best at the moment. So he is definitely pushing strong. It's like he heard us talking about the gap that he's got to close, and he's putting on the pace to do it now. Again, it's a lot to work with, but he's very, very close to working his way into that battle for P4, which would be a tremendous outcome for a very strong race.
Josh Fulton has been a shining example, I think, today. Just head down, keeping up the good pace, and, you know, doing what he can to just take advantage of the opportunities. And it seems like the strategy was also pretty good. Got his eye in on the setup. I mean, he's really put everything together so far. So looking to get a very, very good result by the end of the race, as long as everything goes in his favor. Nipping through turn one very, very nicely. A little bit of the dirt on track there, but not affecting Josh as he steams forward.
Yeah, having some good laps, putting up a 149 flat on that last one. Doesn't look like he's going to have the overall pace as Leor and the gang up front are in those 47, 46 range, but definitely a strong performance and has a lot of race left to go, so you never know where the incidents are going to take us. But I'm going to jump back just a little bit to Masso Brio, currently being piloted by Belati, as he's got a front row seat to some multi-lap action. All these guys, I believe, are on a different lap at the moment, so everybody pushing for their own reasons, and that's where things can get a little bit interesting. You never know just how long someone's going to wait to make a move or how aggressive they'll get to unlap themselves or try to lap the guy ahead.
Yeah, and these would be the cars that have those pace and tire differences. So, you know, you can see that. Look at how the gap has just switched and changed, and Yassarian dipping into the pits here. So Massabria is just going to be driving in a little bit of free air, just a little bit of traffic in front. But and Yassarian, yeah, 15 for speeding. That is well, if he pits now, so Josh Fulton was always going to be ahead, but that sealed the deal. And is that Tater possibly? Who's
I
just taking a
believe
little
it
bit of a
is.
spin? Yeah. So taking a bit of a spin there, but recovered it. Didn't seem like he went all the way around, so that much is pretty good. I'm hearing that Ayash would could do an interview in a little bit, so maybe we'll get some
Post-race chat.
some insight. Yeah, some of that
Oh,
post-race
God.
chat. Oh, Hater swinging out there.
That rejoin
Is
almost
that a
costing
base cannon?
Tall Tech in the number 13 car some dangerous moments, as Karma able to get by as well. That was a scary one for a second. I'm glad Tall Tech able to react relatively quickly to that. We do see light contact, but it's going to go down as some love tapping between Dimitri and Wase. Dimitri now getting passed by a slew of prototypes. I don't think they realized Eski was going to be in the mix. That is two very, very fast racers to come into contact. I know neither one is going to be happy about that, as we see Dimitri trying to stay out in front of Marco Haras to avoid having to lap another car and try and take up some of this open space. Jump back over with Bobby, who's trying to make his way through this traffic. They got speed bump in front, who's going to be cautious and let this battle go by.
Better off for it, not fighting with those hyper cars. We haven't seen Dimitri really get caught up in any of that traffic so far this race. So quite interesting that he does get got towards the end there. He almost went the whole way, but a little bit unfortunate.
I mean, the rule is that they don't have to let off when they see the hypercars coming, the prototypes coming. But personally, when I'm in this situation, I'm just letting those guys get out of the way so we both lose less time overall. So you don't have to, but it tends to be the better strategy. And I think we see a lot of that with the lead cars, and that's why we haven't seen them in any of these traffic incidents, because they see a faster car coming and they just let them get out of the way where they can.
Yeah, you're not really obliged to lift, but it's always nice to, if you've got a hypercar that you know is coming up and it might be close, brake a little bit early, off the line, or lift a little bit so that the hypercar can make the lunge through and not lose anybody too much time. You just want to be as predictable and as easy to pass as possible.
And we do have another clip from the race that I'm just going to throw up on the broadcast, as we got some lap traffic going by. We're going to see this one thrown in from the GTM class. Oh, wow. And you can see the bowling incident from that turn one start of the race. I'll do it one more time here. Just everybody coming in to some chaos. So one to watch out for.
Oh,
in the future.
man,
Yep,
yeah.
definitely a good one.
Oh, yeah, that is quite a send. That looks like it took out so many people.
And
Wow.
we do also have an alternative view of one other moment from earlier, one that we did see, but this really encapsulates what we had on the broadcast there. So that was a dangerous moment there for El Garito, the one that took him out of the race. Very unfortunate that that ended up happening overall.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we've also been provided with another view of that turn 1 incident for the people. So we'll see how the GTM turn 1 went. I mean, it looks like for the lead cars, it wasn't anything too crazy. You can see in the back, everybody kind of getting a little close. And there is the collection. As you see, many of these guys getting by. Oh, and that was where we tuned in. We did see that as part of our live broadcast. So, an unfortunate moment for some of our racers. Oh, all of this to go chatting, and we didn't even realize Marco Hars and Yossarian were having a battle for position up over here. Yossarian did manage to get by, but knowing Marco, I don't think that's going to be the end of that fight, especially with 20 minutes still remaining.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Marco kind of try and take this back as soon as he can, if he can. You know, just kind of depends on the tire life, really, at this stage. He wants to push. The car is light. The grip is there, but, you know, if the tire doesn't have it, it just doesn't have it. Yossarian charging ahead now, but, oh, charging into the gravel. Good to not spin there, Yossarian, but giving that position right back to Marco on doing all the hard work that he's done.
Yeah, he's got to get right back on the throttle now. 2 seconds to make up with only 20 minutes remaining. Those two racers are relatively close together. Their personal laps not even separated by a second. And they've been lapping pretty close together, so we'll have to see how that goes. I just caught word that Eski did have a little bit of a collision with Jesper, who's under the number 51 racer, but it looks like both guys were able to keep moving. Nothing too crazy occurring there. We'll jump over to Speed Bump, though, who's going to have to get through some lap traffic of his own. Has Dimitri not too far behind him, so depending on Dimitri's pace, Dimitri might be able to pull off a lap on Speed Bump. So he will have lapped even some of the podium members if he can get this pass off. So a lot of pressure here on Speed to hold off that lead car, just to show the prowess that GTM has. And he is moving this Lexus.
Yeah, Dimitri's just had an absolutely electric race. I mean, he's been leading start to finish, really, and the strategy and the pace and just the cleanliness of his race as a whole has just been on point, you know, since lap 1, really. And you know, we're winding down here. We're getting towards the closing stages of the race, but of course we will be back in a couple of weeks' time. Remember, it's never too late. You can always join the series whenever you want. Just got to get in, get registered, and qualify, and you'll be a-okay to be racing with these guys on the track for the ESR Challenge Endurance Series, that Techly and VM crossover. Also, of course, at the end here, just want to say again, so many beautiful liveries, great track design by Cameron Designs for us, you know, for this series. So many of these liveries made by him, and so many of these track banners, and well, all of these track banners really, you know, made by him. And Yossarian gets squeezed by Marco Hars, racing for position down into turn 1. Marco down the inside. Oh, man, a little bit of contact. Yeah,
They keep moving.
Those two coming together. But Rubbin is racing, and Yossarian is dipped back behind Marco again. Marco fighting for his life over here, but relatively all right. I'd say that was clean.
Yeah, now it does look like there is a 5-lap difference between the GTMs and the prototypes. So probably will be 6-lap different overall based on the pace we're seeing. Honestly, this means these GTMs are lapping pretty strong, the way that they're holding things up.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, to be honest, as a whole, the entirety of the GTM, grouping, given that there's so many cars, has put on a really nice show, been lapping really well for the most part, and giving us plenty of stuff there, plenty of action, that looks like this to look at. So a round of applause for them for sure. And these two are going to just keep going at it till the very end, it seems.
Yeah, and we do see Nerd has now taken over the Tex Racer and is in a little bit of a battle with Jesu, who's driving the Jari Lamborghini. So as we see Osarian take the position, we're going to jump over for a moment and see which Lamborghini comes out on top. Nerd going for a late move and is able to pull it off. We see Wase proceeding with caution as he knows these GTMs are a little bit tough to pass through this section. They don't have a lot of grip, so they have to go wide through all of the track. Wase, though, able to find the space and carry on through. We're going to jump a little bit further back as the shootout comes to an end and Marco ends up on top down the inside of Donato. Yossarian, though, able to keep his nose right alongside. He'll have to find a switchback opportunity somewhere along the way through these next few corners, but we've seen him do it before. Yossarian hot on the heel of that bumper. He'll need to be a little bit closer if he wants to be able to make a move at the end of this next short straightaway. Otherwise, it'll be a lot of patience through these next few sectors. See him actually taking a bit of an alternative line.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just about to say, is that, speed bump with the rejoin, not quite really. Did stay out of the way, but that was rather close. I was going to say, yeah, it's going to be hard for Yossarian to follow through the high downforce sector, but that traffic is put him right next to Marco as we see one of the Spider-Man liveried prototypes come through as well. And it looks like it just kind of put Yossarian off the line, but compromised Marco's exit. So they're right back to each other, and Yossarian right into the back of Marco Haas.
Quick contact. Yossarian cutting a large portion of the track to get back underway. We do see a bigger battle. As Speed Bump tries to anticipate Yossarian ahead, has to kind of pull off a little bit to the side, ends up going through the dirt. As we see the battle between the two getting very interesting. Speed gonna be having a tough time on these tires. Leor, though, 2 laps older, so has a little bit more to work on, but it's gonna get a draft. That'll definitely help him close this gap. The speed bump ahead. Yossarian does recognize that it's a lapping car and won't fight too hard into the corner. Or so it seems. Leor, though, ends up going a little bit too wide.
Oh no. Yeah, it looks like Leor just really squeezed there in the braking zone and kind of got on the brakes, but couldn't bring the car, through the corner. Kind of ran a little bit wide there. And then almost had some rough contact with Marco, but everything seemed to end up all right. Clutch Russ here.
Looking for an opportunity to unlap himself to Botlando ahead. Which, honestly, just unlapping yourself in general is always a nice feat to be able to pull off. It shows that you're really locked into the pace, found the track, and that you're ready for the next race down the line. Clutch Russ ready for that move himself, as he looks to put one on Botlando. These guys getting very close together. Who's going to come out on top? Is it the Mercedes? Is it the Lexus? Well, it seems like that late break on the Mercedes advantage coming to play one more time as Clutch Russ gets by. And it'll now be Botlando's job to earn the blue flag.
Yeah, Clutch Russ did very well to use the late braking the Mercedes there to get through in turn 1. We've seen it all race, that thing just be able to brake just later than every other car, and it's really showing its dominance there with that. But on with Dimitri now. I believe that's Wase. Yeah, coming through one more time. Very, very cleanly. Dimitri tucking in. Still leading the GTMs as usual and doing a very good job while doing it.
As we see Purple trying to keep up with, I believe, Tall Tech, and gets collected by Nerd. Ends up in a tricky spot, has to keep his momentum or he'll be beached, and that gets dangerous as the Lexus comes flying by of Dimitri Os, who has been having a tremendous race. And Purple will now have to get back on the hunt. That is Nerd driving in the Tex Racer. Oh, a speed bump goes off. And I saw no collisions pop up on the live timing, so it seems like just a moment with grip. Speed bump losing the podium position in the final 10 minutes to Leor, has 8 seconds to make up. Are they able to make it through? This is going to be very tricky, and Speed's going to have to put a lot of pace down in the car. Speed's personal best is not on target with Leor's, but in the last couple laps, Speed has been maintaining a second or two of dominance.
I hate to see Speed Bump kind of struggle with that Lanzo there. I mean, some choose the Lanzo in the 4 hours of Nordschleife as well with the Techo server, and seems to be a favorite, but today, ooh, just a little bit loose here and there.
Oh, Space Cannon surprises us.
Yeah, Base Cannon sticking the nose, trying to get in frame, saying hi real quick.
Yeah.
Comes through. 20 seconds to Bobby though. Still doesn't seem like Bobby's going to relinquish the lead. And 30 seconds from Zenith to Base Cannon. So Base Cannon in a bit of no man's land there.
Now, Zenith, worth noting, 30 laps on these tires so far.
Wow.
With 8 minutes left to go. I don't know what the plan is.
I don't know. Zenith has the long stop done, right?
I believe so.
I mean, in that case, he can go to the end, but Tall Tech is only 10 seconds away. I mean, he doesn't have, you know, a great cushion behind him. As we see Clutch Russ there kind of going a little bit wide. Slowly getting back on there. Did good to rejoin safely. And he keeps it moving. But no, Zenith doesn't have a crazy cushion behind him. He definitely doesn't have a pit stop or a spin to Tall Tech at all. So he's going to have to be careful on those old tires. But my guess is he's going to the end.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, he doesn't really have anything to lose. Even if the tires get real bad, he has enough space behind him to limp into the pits and get a fresh set on. And a fresh set of softs will definitely let him at least make a move over the course of a lap, even if he ends up a second back. So pretty decent forgiving window to work with there.
Yeah, as far as keeping a decent result, but my guess is he's gonna want to stay in front of Tall Tech, who's already taken that gap down about 2 seconds or so from, you know, when we checked. We got on with Zenith. I'm thinking that might turn into a battle towards the end of the race because I don't see Zenith pitting again. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see as we are on board with the Ryan Gosling car.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta respect the man making time out of his busy filming schedule to put down a couple of laps here in this endurance event. Have the laps gone exactly as he's planned? Probably not, but certainly making the most of them. Speaking of making the most of things, speed bump already within 4 seconds of Leor in front. So that's a battle we might see one more time. We're going to jump over to Jari, currently being driven by Jasper as they head through Corintiao with some solid pace. just looking to make up time wherever they can. Oh, I actually see a little bit of a battle happening here. Pilati has managed to work their way up towards Botlando. They've got Josh Fulton lapping them at the moment, but can use that fight to their advantage as Clutch Russ goes by looking to unlap themselves. And that's like a triple switch back there. Everybody trying to take advantage of whatever little space they can find on the track. Somehow managing to do so. As we see some wiggles up ahead, so everybody's getting a little bit tired, you can tell, as we head to the final few moments. It's getting very dangerous. You saw some dirt right in the middle of the racing line up ahead. Things are going to get even more slippery in these final few moments. But thankfully, there's not too much wind. The track temp has stayed consistent. And they've been able to at least account for all of that. This is the main grouping we'd see battling things out. We do see Wase a little bit further up, trying to get close. Oh, as Jesu and Clutch Russ have a moment. Then Clutch Russ gets into the back of Jesu, and that speed carries him into the dirt. Clutch Russ has slowed down for a moment to allow both racers by. We'll see what that does over on. Jesu still trying to get onto the track. We're going to bounce over for a minute and see where they can come out. This is actually dangerous for them now as they drop past Tater and relatively far off of the main pace. Gonna jump over to Tall Tech now, who is hammering away at Zenith. You can tell those tires have significantly fallen off. Zenith's last lap was a 138.6 to Tall Tech's 137.1. Tall Tech on 24 lap tires themselves, so it's not like this is going to be an easy task, as they're not going to have the preferred grip that they're looking for, but they are certainly working for it.
Yeah, Tall Tech here is absolutely looking to close that gap. He knows the situation he's in. He knows he's on board for a podium spot, and he's going to do everything he can to try and close that gap up in the last stages of the race and, you know, secure that podium. And, I mean, to be on the podium in the opening race, I mean, is there any better feeling?
And it's fitting that it is going to all come down to the last lap here. We see both cars heading across the line. Zenith locking in a 138.6 to Tall Tech's 136.9. This is where things get dangerous.
This has me excited. I want to see these two get together on that last lap, and I want to see what are they willing to do to keep the podium spot. Ooh. So we have the Tech's car there off to the side. Ryan Gosling maybe got a call from his manager and needed to take that. Kind of got a little bit distracted. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, Josh absolutely locked in for this race. Ended up a solid P5 at this point. There's a big enough gap both sides of him to where we can say that with confidence. That is an electric performance. I guess we've been on board with Tall Tech for a minute here. Oh, as an interesting moment with Wase trying to unlap themselves. I'm not entirely positive what happened. It seemed like Wase had a lot of speed.
I'm not sure what happened there. Also on the leaderboard, Tall Tech's past Zenith.
Yeah, I'm looking for Zenith, but Zenith must have spun out. I guess we didn't see exactly where. I didn't see them off the road at any point, but the tires must be really, really getting to them. So we unfortunately didn't see that incident, or at least neither of the broadcasters noticed it in the background. Perhaps some of our viewers did, as Zenith now has a 7-second gap to make up. I mean, at this point, it's only 2 laps left. As long as you know the tires aren't going to blow up, you might as well just bring it home. A nice gap behind you to get a 6.4, or sorry, to get an overall P4. I mean, not too shabby of a race, though. Ooh, as we've got another three-way battle shaking on. Clutch Russ and Josh have really been towing each other back and forth along this track for your last 20 minutes here of the event.
Yeah, these two, and keeping it clean, mind you. But no, top four, not a bad result at all. Absolutely a solid one. So, props to Zenith, and yeah, these two kind of just dragging each other along. I mean, this is gonna be their last lap, their victory lap, as they go around here, and everybody keeping it relatively clean on this side of the track. Clutch Russ with a pretty decent result, all things considered. It's been a long race, and it's been a hard race, so very, very good from him. And no, we have seen a Josh Fulton spin. Oh, the whole race he was doing so good, but we've seen him finally maybe push just a little bit too hard, and he's gotten around with the back end there. Mind you, he will be ahead of speed bumps penalties, but it doesn't seem like he will get Leor. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, is your prototype race leader, P1, start to finish. Bobby, who's had an amazing race, was worried a little bit from the traffic behind, but doesn't need to be worried anymore as he crosses the finish line. P1 in the ProTech series, P1 in the prototype car. Bobby, an absolutely amazing race as he crosses the line there.
Yeah, and just a couple more racers starting to come across the grid now. We do see some final penalties being added to times at the bottom, so we'll have to take a look at who's picked up penalties along the way. But a tremendous race here from everybody. Not really following too many cars, although as I say that, Massa Brio looking for a chance in the final corner. Might have the move on Botlando. Is going to be a drag race down to the end. Gets to the inside. Can they do it before the line? Oh, it's going to be close.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Did he get it?
I don't know. I think Massa Brio got it.
I think Massa Brio got it.
Massa Brio got it. Massa Brio got that. There's no way that cannot. That literally cannot be more than like a half of a tenth, if that.
I cannot wait to see the live timings, the overall lap times between those guys. That's how you finish a race.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Just to correct myself, sorry, that was Pilati, I think, driving. Sorry, Pilati finishing it out in the end there. Looking at the timings, I can't even see what the gap was between them at the end, so that'll be very interesting to see.
That was absolutely insane. I'm glad we hopped on board there at the end. We also did see Base Cannon cross P2 in the prototype cars, along with Tall Tech P3. That rounds out your podium there. We saw Marco, and that was Josh Fulton there, the podium for the GTM.
Sorry, just to address some Karma, that's just your gap to the car that finished the race. That's showing there. So you were 17 laps away from the lead prototype car. It's not a bad thing. It's not penalties or anything like that. But that is the end of the first race of the season. That was a very, very solid start, all things considered. We know there was a couple hiccups here and there, some driver etiquette issues that will have to be addressed overall. But for the first race of the ESR Challenge, I think we're relatively happy with how things ended up turning out.
Yeah, it was an absolutely amazing race today. Hats off to all the drivers today. You put on an absolutely amazing show. The start was awesome. You know, a little bit of contact, of course, but you guys were racing hard and just doing your job. So hats off to everybody. Just want to one more time give a huge shout out and a thank you to Cameron Designs for, you know, the beautiful track and all the beautiful liveries. And of course, a thank you to Techly and VM for putting it all together and giving us quite an amazing event. I know on the VM side, I would specifically, man, I'd like to shout out Chloroform, Chris, for, you know, kind of birthing this idea of this endurance series and doing the work to get it started and get the right people together to make it happen. So first round, an absolute banger, one to remember, and I'm sure it'll be looked back on very, very fondly. And of course, it was amazing to be in the booth with you, Buggy.
Yeah, it was a great one as always. Let's grab Osh real quick, and we can kind of get some inside scoop on a racer. I don't have a ton of time, so this is going to be the only post race that we do. But Osh, I think you're an admin. I think you can just add yourself to the channel. Fairly certain.
Yo,
Osh,
He's made
welcome
it.
to it. That was
Man.
one hell of a race. I mean, very, very unfortunate for you there. We are sorry about how it turned out, but great performance up until that point, huh?
Yeah, pretty unfortunate. Like, I could have been fighting for the win, but with there was the lap one spin. I got spun, and then yeah, I lost my tires halfway through the race, which just sucks.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Flying
the
upside
first
down.
race of a long season, so at least there's that. But it wasn't a ton you could do. We did look at the clip on the broadcast just to try and really
Yeah,
understand
you
what
couldn't stop
happened.
showing it, man.
No, we only showed it once or twice.
We played
Actually, do
again.
you have the broadcast open? I do want to get your thoughts on a different incident that occurred. I don't know if you
Yeah,
were
I'm watching.
involved with this one. All right.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
watching now.
so you'll see it in just a minute here. Let me get it set up. But you can see this racer had a similar incident where they come around a blind corner and get flipped out and spun. And then I'll
Oh, is it only on the
actually
YouTube
get
stream,
it
or
set
can I see it
up.
on Discord?
It's on the YouTube stream, and then I'll actually get it from an
Oh, I opened
alternate
it to see me upside down.
angle
That's brilliant.
here in just a minute. Oh, you got the first one? Yeah, no.
Yeah, I just saw
Here.
the
I'll
upside
show
down.
you.
Yeah.
I'll show you a different one. This is a different moment on the grid here. Just this one. Another racer unfortunately gets spun out at some point in the mix. So there
All
is
right.
that.
Oh
Just
my god.
so unfortunate all around.
Probably the yellow car's fault, to be honest.
But
It was
no, all jokes
underneath.
aside, Josh, you did have a tremendous race, man. We are sorry to see how that one worked out for you.
Yeah, the comeback was fun. I was in like what 16th, 17th at some point after the first lap.
Something like that. Yeah, no, you had a pretty
Yeah,
strong
had a
one, so
blast.
that was
First
pretty
last, I had a
good.
really good fight with Mylan. That was amazing. That was like 20-minute fight.
Well, I'm glad you survived it for the most part. But we're gonna end it here for the week one or race one of the season. Great race to everybody, Ash, yourself included. And we'll catch everybody for the next one.